formal written response to National Treasury by the end of business today, following discussions with Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana. Morero says 2 meetings were held on Friday to address concerns raised by the minister on the city's handling of its finances. In a strongly worded letter, Godongwana cautioned the city on its ballooning wage bill, adding that the city cannot afford the latest agreement with the South African Municipal Workers Union to the tune of 10.3 billion rand as it was not budgeted for. Morero dismissed speculation that the city could be placed.
By end of business, we'll then be sending a formal written response to the issues that the minister had raised, which we discussed on Friday, but now we need to put them in black and white on a response. And I can assure you, the city of Johannesburg is not at that stage where you can then talk about putting it under administration.
Crime Analytics Officer Marumo Magane has conceded to tampering with evidence after admitting to touching a consignment of drugs without gloves. Magane, a commander of the SAPS Crime Information Management and Analysis Centre, has been testifying at the Commission today. His testimony so far has largely focused on his questionable presence at the scene of a July 2021 drug bust where police intercepted a truck carrying 741 kilograms of cocaine. Tabisokoba reports.
As a crime analytics officer, Marumo Magane's job is usually office-bound. However, on the 9th of July 2021, he took it upon himself to follow up on a tip about a truck carrying a large consignment of drugs in Ayrton, south of Johannesburg. Magane says he was called to the scene by Chief Samuel Mashaba, a Gauteng traffic officer. When the two men attended to the truck, what followed was a comedy of errors. One of these was them breaking the seal of the truck's doors without photographing it first and unloading the drugs to Magane's bakkie without any gloves. Commission Chairperson Buiseli Madlanga was not impressed.
You were clueless and you knew that you were clueless.
That's correct,
Mashaba was clueless and you must have known that he too was clueless, correct?
Correct, Commissioner.
What on earth were you doing handling any of the objects there, the container and the contents? What on earth were you doing?
Commissioner, we were innocently trying to process this.
Magane has admitted he didn't follow any of the police processes for crime scene preservation. Tabisokoba, Eyewitness News.
Stats SA says the country's growing working age population is adding further pressure to an already strained job market. The latest labour force survey shows the country's official unemployment rate has risen to 32.7%, with more than 8 million people now without work. The data also shows South Africa's working age population has now grown to more than 42 million people. Mongezi Gogo reports.
Gauteng continues to have the largest working age population in the country, with more than 11.5 million people between the ages of 15 and 64. KwaZulu-Natal follows with just over 7.8 million people, while the Western Cape has more than 5.1 million. In the Eastern Cape, the working age population now stands at more than 4.6 million people, with most provinces recording year-on-year growth. Statistician General Risenga Maluleke.
When we look at the 8.1 million divided by total of those that are in the labor force, we are saying that our unemployment rate for the first quarter of 2026 is sitting at 32.7%.
Maluleke says the figures highlight the growing need for job creation, particularly for young people entering the labor market. Munki Zikoko, Eyewitness News.
The death toll linked to weather-related incidents in the Western Cape has risen to 6. This comes as disaster management teams continue to respond to calls from various communities severely impacted by heavy rain, strong winds and flooding. Nearly 6,000 people have been left vulnerable, with flooding leading to evacuations and infrastructure damage. Authorities say nearly 2,000 homes have been flooded or destroyed in informal settlements, including Philippi and Kailicha. Western Cape Disaster Management Head Colin Diner says thousands remain cut off across the province, with adverse weather conditions hampering rescue efforts.
We currently just started a large operation in the Wolseley area where there are people that are trapped, and we are trying to reach them. And then the citrus dal has also been cut off, so there's a couple of areas in the Cedarburg that we're trying to reach now. We're not able to fly because of the weather, so it is making access to those people very difficult.
And in the UK, a second junior minister has resigned from Prime Minister Keir Starmer's government. According to international media, Jess Phillips wrote a letter to Starmer stating she cannot continue to serve as a minister under the current leadership. The latest resignation comes as a growing number of lawmakers from the Labour Party urge Starmer to resign. During a cabinet meeting today, Starmer refused to resign, effectively laying down a challenge to potential rivals to unseat him. He says he takes responsibility for the poor performance seen in the election results last week, saying he will continue delivering the change he has promised. Gold is trading at $4,698.49 an ounce. The rand is at 16.52 to the dollar, 22.31 to the pound, 19.43 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $107.36 a barrel.
In Edenvale, heading towards Bedfordview, traffic is already backing up. This is on the R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Kilulis interchange. And look out for those faulty traffic lights around Park Ridge, Bayers, Noordea, and the N1 North.
In your sport, Shabnan Ismail comes out of retirement for the T20 World Cup. Mamelodi Sundowns gear up for their final league match of the season against TS Galaxy. And Orbit College forced into a venue change for their final league clash against Orlando Pirates.
It's a sunny but chilly afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 22 and 24 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, Joburg Mayor Dada Morero says the city will submit a formal written response to National Treasury by the end of business today, following discussions with the Finance Minister.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Visit primemediaplus.com to enter 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Josie.
For Joburg, by Joburg, in Joburg.
Bamise bonke.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It is 9 minutes past 3 on Tuesday, the 12th of May. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman, wherever you're listening to us in 702 land. Welcome to the show. In central Johannesburg today, earth-moving equipment very, very busy, not with building, but with taking structures down.
Get out! Get out! Hey, get out! Get out! Hey! Out! Out! Hey! Out!
What is the long-term plan as they take down temporary structures in the heart of the city? Dimakatso Lishoro was there and joins us shortly to give us some insight into the city of Joburg's plan. Earth-moving equipment certainly busy in Joburg, but not nearly busy enough, it would seem, on building sites. More than 100,000 construction jobs have been lost. This we know from the latest quarter under review by Stats SA. What's happening in this country of ours that was supposed to be turned into a building site, as per more than one State of the Nation address? That's been on the cards for a long time. We'll talk to Zenzele Mabuza from the Master Builders Association of South Africa. That's coming up after 4. And at the Madlanga Commission today, the witness found himself on the wrong end of the commission chair's rather extreme frustration.
You were clueless, and you knew that you were clueless.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Mashaba was clueless, and you must have known that he too was clueless. Correct?
Correct, Commissioner.
What on earth were you doing handling any of the objects there, the container and the contents? What on earth were you doing?
I must say, I have to find a word other than extraordinary when I talk about what's been going on at the Madlanga Commission, particularly this week, where they talk about bungled police interventions to deal with the massive scourge of drugs coming into our country, some of those drugs staying here and some of them moving on in transit to cause havoc and misery in other parts of the world. But today was truly remarkable. I mean, just an account of an absolutely bungled operation carried out, as you probably got an indication there from Judge Mboiseli Madlanga, by two officers with zero experience of actually dealing with drugs. Simply bungling or a deliberate attempt to contaminate a crime site. We'll find out more on that when we talk to Tabiso Goba. He's with us in about 10 minutes' time. Today's International Nurses Day. We'll take a closer look at the state of the profession in South Africa, find out who's signing up for nursing and what kind of people actually do we need to keep that all-important component of our healthcare system working. And as always, and in the last part of the show, we'll play you some music, hopefully your music, stuff you send in by way of suggestions. We thought today, a straightforward question: who's your favorite country music artist, and what is their greatest song? We have one suggestion already.
She's from Texas, I can tell by the way he's two-stepping round the room, and judging by the smile that's written on his face, there's nothing I can do. It doesn't take a
I did come to work wearing a cowboy hat, but it's very hard to keep it in place when you have to wear headphones. You'll know that, though, if you're watching us on YouTube, which you can do. Just go to John Perlman 702 Drive and type in the word live, and then you can see us here in all our finery and in our complete absence of anything on our heads except headphones. But we do love connecting with you there. And by the way, there's a comments feature, so you don't always have to use the number you generally use for sending us your comments. That, of course, is 072 702 1702. But yeah, we'll take your comments off YouTube as well. And we'd love to know that some of you are watching the show and not just listening. If, by the way, you're nowhere near a screen, but you do have a phone, please do download the Prime Media app. A wonderful way to listen to 702 literally anywhere in the world, because all you need is a good, strong Wi-Fi connection. On the markets today, the JSE has taken a big knock with the all-share off by 2,150 points. That's a fall of 1.8%. The biggest drop has been in industrials, 2.7%, and you'll understand if you know what a huge component of the JSE process and Naspers are, that it's their poor performance today that has seen this dive. Process down by 7% and Naspers by 6.7%. Anglo Gold is off by 4%, another poor day for resources. That's due to a $41 fall in the gold price. Platinum has lost plenty as well. Pick n Pay is down by 4%, MTN weaker by 3%. On the upside, Sasol 3%. That's on a 4% spike in the oil price. Boo, not Sasol, but the oil price. And BAT is up by 4.4%. The rand is trading at 16.50 against the dollar, 10 cents weaker than this time yesterday. Euro pretty much where it was yesterday, 19 rand 37. Not much change as well. Against sterling, 22 rand 33 will get you a pound. Stephen Critters joins us with all the market news at 4:25. We'll have sport with Tolakele Mganga. Karabo Chali joins us in a moment with the traffic news, and Mbali Dlamini, who you heard a moment ago, is back with the very latest news headlines at a time when the news agenda is moving pretty quickly. So listen up for her. She's with us in about a quarter of an hour's time. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live. If it's happening in 702 land, you will get to hear it here first, unless, of course, there are things that you know that we don't know. Then please let us know about that. 072 702 1702 or 011 883 0702. This is 702 Drive.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
Lots of big stories today. We'll cover them for you as fully as we can. We'll bring you some other stuff as well that you might not be thinking about. Got an interesting chat about VAR and its introduction in South African football. I'll tell you more about that, but that's coming up at 10 to 5. This at a time when VAR is front and center of so many football conversations. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. But we also need to talk about other things. I'm not sure what made us talk about this, but we ended up talking about things that you still don't do in front of your parents, even though you are grown up. Maybe if you want a cigarette, you're going to have to go to the bottom of the garden, or, and always remember to take at least 4 packets of chewing gum with you, plus something to spray on your clothes. Is there something that you still hide from your parents? And if so, tell us why. Do you think you might get in trouble? How about you, Rifue Litsua? Are you a little secretive when you head back to the Free State?
Ooh, good afternoon, John, and to the rest of the 702 family. I think everyone is a little secretive. I think I don't tell my mom just to protect her. So there's a couple of things I don't tell her. Mom, I hope you're not listening. Okay. It's if I'm in a situationship, if it's like a little fling, I don't tell her about my feelings. I mean, it happens. I mean, I'm charming. Sometimes you find yourself in a situationship, so I don't tell my mom about me being a temptress or seductress. I don't do that. And I also, when I was still drinking, John, I never used to even speak about alcohol. She's like, Raffi, you don't drink, ne? No, mama, me, never. Little did she know, I was just sipping some of that good stuff.
Yeah, and she's on the line now. But
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. No, these things are interesting. And how about you, Karabo Charlie? Anything that you sneaking around in regard to?
Well, definitely drinking. I feel very uncomfortable drinking even in front of my uncles and stuff.
Okay.
So usually when there's family gatherings and stuff, the young ones will usually maybe have their little corner somewhere far from the adults, and we'll have our little beverages there. But not in front of the parents. But then obviously they know we drink, but then not in front of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's accepted. So do this, but I don't want it in my face. Is that it?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Right. Let's hear from you. What are the things that, despite the fact that you're older, and you are living your own life, making your own money, fending for yourself, but there are just some things, not in front of the folks. And maybe if you know why that is the case, please let me know. 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. 18 past 3, traffic time. Karabo, are we in any kind of trouble yet, or is it still too early?
Yeah, well, it's pretty quiet across most parts of 702 land at this hour, but soon it will be busy, I guess. Already in the Bursley Kempton Park area, there's a slow-moving traffic on Modderfontein Road between Mooifontein Road and Mooi Rivier. There's faulty traffic lights in Marlborough at Marlborough Drive and Southway. There's also traffic lights not working in Fourways at Cedar and Fourways Boulevard, as well as in Woodmead at Woodmead Drive and Woodlands. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
My fellow South Africans, I have not stolen public money, committed any crime. I want to make it clear that I will not resign.
Clement Manyatela, the president has been very clear that he is not going to be resigning.
The president considered resigning a couple of years ago. So my question is, if he was willing to resign then, what's different now? Because at the time, it was just an independent panel report that says we need an impeachment committee that can determine whether or not you have committed any serious misconduct.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Mzansi, pick 6 lucky numbers and play Powerball Plus for the staggering 86 million rand estimated jackpot. And Powerball is at an estimated 78 million rand jackpot this Tuesday. Play Powerball Plus for an estimated 86 million and Powerball for an estimated 78 million rand today. Buy your tickets now, in-store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda Pusher Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Bar Black Sheep. Have you any wool? Yes, sir, yes, sir. More than 3 bags full. We think beyond today, tomorrow, more. Look up, look far ahead. We may choose to leave the herd. there's greener grass where fewer care to tread. Bar Black Sheep, proof of what we do. Better for clients for over 20 years. Courage, we hold the course for you. Bar Black Sheep, if you want more wool, it takes black sheep thinking. Camissa Asset Management. Invest different. Camissa Asset Management is a licensed FSP.
It's 6 a.m. in Kenya. Victor's little sister starts high school today, but her fees need to be paid first. Back in Jozi, Victor logs onto the Absa banking app and sends her money and a little extra for lunch. It arrives instantly.
Your money makes their world go round. Send cash to 18 countries across the world with Absa Global Pay. It's safe, instant, and affordable. Your story matters. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Not every change feels like a choice. Some arrive as disruption. Shift Happens with Richard Sutton is a podcast about those moments where life moves first and you have to catch up. And now you can catch it all. Shift Happens with Richard Sutton. Coming soon on PrimeMediaPlus.com, the Prime Media Plus app, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Powered by First Light. Therapeutics for the modern mind.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Right, let's focus our attention now on the Joburg CBD. City authorities moving in with TLBs and other equipment and demolishing illegal structures in Small Street. This to do, as I understand it, with the unauthorized expansion of shop owners into what should be, I believe, a pedestrian precinct. But let's get exact details and welcome to the show Dimakatso Leshoro, our EWN reporter who's been out in that part of Joburg through the day. Dimakatso, very good afternoon to you. What exactly was the city looking to achieve today with this intervention? Good afternoon.
Hi, John. Basically, when I spoke to the mayor, he told me that they're trying to deal and clamp down on lawlessness within this precinct where basically, as you just alluded to, some of the vendors have constructed structures illegally on the pavement, restricting movement of the people around the area. And they are claiming that there's a lot of crime as a result because you can't see who's selling, who's standing, who's doing whatever. So this is limited to the area around the Old Methodist Church in Small Street.
Right.
So that's where they started with the operation yesterday, with multiple entities from the city of Joburg being involved there.
So, I mean, any idea as to how many traders have been affected by this? How many structures pulled down? I'm just trying to get a sense of the scale of it. And I suppose crucially, I mean, what is the city going to do if they are up again in 4 weeks' time?
It's around, it's close to 20 structures that were raised down.
Okay.
They've said that what they're going to do is what they did with De Villiers Street. If you recall, that they removed vendors from the street who were selling old clothes there, and they placed Metro cops to monitor the situation. So they're saying that they're going to do the same thing there because they are essentially concerned about lawlessness. And they will be moving to other parts. So they will be doing this in phases. They say that was done prior to the G20. So now they are continuing with part of that same sort of operation.
And just in terms of where they might move to next, they're probably keeping that quite close to their chest. But did they give a sense of what other areas of Joburg might need this kind of attention?
They have, actually. There's a building that's quite notorious that's actually behind where we were today, where if you walk into that building, it's where the deed office used to be. I'm not sure if it's still there, but I mean, the chaos that's in there, it's just scary. So that's where they're saying that they are going to next. They just basically want to clamp down on people who come and sell their wares without any permits, without any proper structure, without paying the city electricity. So what we saw today, part of it was, huge air conditioning units, electricity that's been illegally connected to the city electricity supply without any payment. Some of their structures were hidden inside the Methodist church. They're saying that the pastor came there yesterday. There was a bit of a chat with him, and he was saying this is their property. They can't go in. But when we went in today with the officials, we found, some of the structures that they used to build these illegal stands and whatnot are hidden inside the Methodist church. So, they'll be going to this building, which I'm trying not to mention because they told us that's where they're going tomorrow. On Thursday, because what they wanted today and didn't have today was immigration officials. They say that they usually go with them, but today they were not available due to capacity, so they will be joining them on Thursday, and they want to, while removing these structures, deal with the illegal migrants that they say work in these shops.
Dimakatso Lishoro, thank you. EWN reporter in downtown Joburg. If you've witnessed what happened today, maybe you've got a view on the broad intentions of the city, give us a call on 011-883-0702, 26 minutes past 3.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
You were clueless and you knew you were clueless. We've heard from time to time some very pointed and harsh words from Justice Madlanga, chairing, of course, the commission that bears his name. But and as I said earlier, I keep using the word extraordinary, and it really isn't. It's getting very tired and old now. So if you can suggest something else. But Tabiso Goba, very good afternoon to you, listening to Warrant today, to Warrant Officer Marumo Machane, explaining something that to me was quite extraordinary. He, who's a desk-bound police officer, has never done a drug bust, accompanied by a traffic officer who's never done a drug bust, go to the scene where there's been a tip-off and huge amounts of narcotics are in this truck, and they proceed to completely render unusable a crime scene by the way in which they compromise every single rule of police crime scene work. Here's my question for you. We'll come back to some of the details which really defy belief. Do we know who sent them there? Because is that going to be a key element of understanding whether this was just bungling by two keen amateurs or an actual deliberate intention to make this matter unprosecutable, which it has been for 5 years?
Good afternoon, John. We do know who sent him there. I'm just not sure whether I should mention it because it is obviously a police informant.
Okay. But let me put the question differently then, because the name is less important. Were they sent there deliberately to make a mess of things? Is that the evidence we're hearing?
I'm not 100% sure, John, because as you said, the information comes from an informant. The informant informs Mr. Samuel Mashaba, who's a Gauteng traffic officer, and Mr. Mashaba then calls Mr. Machane, and then they both go and investigate the matter. So we're not necessarily sure over who sent them and what their intentions were. What we do know from Mr. Machane is that they went there with all the best intentions of uncovering a crime.
But in full and absolute knowledge, I would have thought that if you go and mess with a shipment of narcotics worth many millions of rand, you would be taking a substantial risk, because the person who is supposed to actually get that consignment presumably is not someone who will arrive and say, hey, folks, can we chat about this?
100%, John. And as you said, this is extraordinary. It's absolutely amazing, a testimony that you've heard today.
Yes.
Mr. Machane, John, he works for a department within SAPS. It's called the Crime Information Management and Analysis Center. Basically, what these guys do is they do crime statistics. Those crime statistics that we get at every quarterly, they are the guys who put them together, they analyze them, they create patterns. That's his job, John.
Yes.
For some reason, on the 9th of July in 2021, he gets this call about this drug bust, and he goes and investigates. They go to Germiston, that's where the truck was. They go to Germiston and they speak to the driver of the truck. And the driver of the truck says, I'm not sure what's in this truck, but can I at least take this truck to Johannesburg and then we can unload it there? And they agree. For some reason, they agree to taking the truck full of drugs to Germiston and Johannesburg. And when they reach Johannesburg, John, they break the seal of the truck without photographing it. So showing that there's no proof to show whether the truck was open or not. They break the seal, they take the drugs by hand, put them down and take them from the ground to Mr. Makhane's bakkie, contaminating the scene, touching the drugs with their hands. Mr. Makhane was asked why didn't he use gloves. He said he believed that police forensics cannot lift fingerprints from a plastic bag, which is not true. And again, John, we go back to the fact that this is a man who works at the desk doing crime analytics. How he ends up solving or trying to solve a major drug bust of 750 kilograms of cocaine is still a mystery. And I hope at some point, John, we do get some answer in terms of what exactly were his motivations.
Well, one piece of the puzzle might be this, and very briefly, if you can, Tabiso, just mindful of time. What happened to the drugs?
So the drugs were... Serious police did eventually come to the scene.
Oh, I see.
The drugs were later confiscated. But the problem, John, is 5 years since those drugs came to South African shore, no one has been arrested. And the reason no one has been arrested is because Mr. Makhane and his friend, Mr. Mashaba, contaminated the scene so much that it's basically impossible for the matter to ever be re-enrolled to the NPA because of just how contaminated and how messed up the scene was by Mr. Makhane and Mr. Mashaba.
It is, again, another day at the Madlanga Commission that really produces hair-raising details around issues of police conduct in the face of one of the major threats to our social fabric. Everything we've heard so far about the way the police have dealt with drug syndicates has been utterly alarming. More to come, I'm afraid. It's 28 minutes to 4. Right, let's get the very latest eyewitness news with Mbali Dlamini. Concord is looking at issues around social grants. This is another thing that's been knocking around for years. What's the latest, Mbali?
Well, John, a very good afternoon. Well, the Concord has now heard that the Social Security Agency has failed to budget for its contract with Postbank to carry out the payments of grants to millions of South Africans. The ongoing legal battle between SASSA and the Postbank has made its way to the Apex Court over the termination of a contract between the parties. Since the commencement of the Master Service Agreement in 2022, Postbank started paying about 3 million beneficiaries. In December, the Constitutional Court ordered that the status quo remains until final determination by the court, but SASSA seems to have ignored this. Khomotso Modise reports.
SASSA's lawyers have told the Constitutional Court that it hasn't budgeted for the Master Services Agreement to continue with Postbank, despite a standing order by the court that the contract should continue pending the end of the legal battle. Justice Stephen Majid has questioned SASSA's lawyers on the apparent contempt of court.
Partner Social Development couldn't have done it on their own accord. They must have had input from you as a component of the Department of SASSA to say, this MSA has now been terminated. You can reprioritize the funds. Is that a contempt of the court order of 2025?
My respectful submission, Justice Majid, is that we still are abiding by the court order which was issued by this court.
SASSA's lawyers insist that while there is no budget allocated to pay Postbank to facilitate the payments of 3 million grants, the grants themselves have been budgeted for. They also insist that the beneficiaries would be paid through traditional banks, which they claim have agreed to facilitate the payments of grants for free. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
The case against the man accused of killing a Santon teacher in 2023 has hit another snag. The case has now been postponed once again in the Johannesburg High Court after the new defense lawyer for Bafana Mahungela told the court he was not ready to proceed with the trial. Mahungela stands accused of the murder of school teacher Kirsten Clates, whose body was discovered at the George Lear Park in Parkmore. She had been reported missing after she failed to return from a park run. Advocate Viwe Vuza told the court today he requires more time to familiarize himself with the case.
I'm not in a good state of health. As a result, I won't be able to go through all the transcripts because I'm using medication that is affecting my concentration. So I'm asking for more time. At least by next week, Monday, I can be ready. I'll be ready. Let me say so. Let me commit myself.
And President Cyril Ramaphosa insists tourism has the power to change how the world sees Africa. The president addressed stakeholders at the Africa Travel Indaba at the Nkosi Albert Lutuli International Convention Centre in Durban today. Ramaphosa emphasized that tourism not only offers a new avenue for economic growth, but rewrites the story of the continent. Ntokozo Khumalo reports.
Delegates in the tourism sector across the continent are currently gathered at the ICC for the 4-day Premier Travel and Trade Show. Having kicked off on Monday, President Cyril Ramaphosa officially opened the Indaba, which is expected to provide a platform for buyers who will be potentially purchasing a variety of tourism products. Under the theme Unlimited Africa, Growing Africa's Tourism Economy, which aims to draw in investment to allow for job creation, small business growth, inclusive economic participation, and infrastructural development. President Cyril Ramaphosa in his address says the effects of tourism, in addition to the economic development it offers, can alter how Africa is seen.
It is the tourism aspect that can showcase our continent, can show the beauty, the sophisticated cultures of our continent, the heritage.
He adds that tourism is an instrument that can be used to change the narrative of the continent. Ntokozo Khumalo, Eyewitness News, Durban.
It's a sunny but chilly afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 22 and 24 degrees.
Midrand, there's a stationary truck on the N1 South before the Bethlehem interchange causing heavy delays from Allendale Road in Bursley, Kempton Park area. Slow-moving traffic on Modderfontein Road between Mooifontein Road and Mooirivier.
The top story in EWN, the Constitutional Court has heard that the Social Security Agency has failed to budget for its contract with Postbank to carry out the payments of grants to millions of South Africans.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
The Midday Report at its heart is a current affairs show, but it really is a show about everything you need to know about and everything you didn't know you needed to know about. Our listener is sharp, plugged in, curious, has developed opinions, but is still open to learning new things. My favorite part is how witty, sharp, and funny our listener is. What we cover every day is breaking news, current affairs, politics, the courts, global developments, science, education, popular culture, sports, books, and of course, good things too. I like to think of it as a lunchbox with a little bit of everything. What I love about 702 Land is that it is full of energy. There's always something happening, a developing story to follow. But it's not parochial. The 702 family cares about what is happening in the world around them and how we plug into that.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. Weekdays from 12 to 1 p.m.
If your plumber was becoming too expensive, you'd switch, right? So why pay more for car insurance? Switching to Outsurance saved 27-year-old Lynn a mind-blowing 638 Rand on her 2025 Haval Jolian. Get a quote now, and if Outsurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Do it now. SMS OUT to 45142. That's OUT to 45142. Licensed insurance FSP, TCs and information online.
Imagine a holiday where the only thing on the to-do list is enjoy yourself. With Norwegian Cruise Line, you can sail to over 400 destinations worldwide effortlessly. Visit ncl.com for the best deals or contact your travel agent today. Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here. T's and C's apply.
In a world that is continuously evolving, Africa is adapting, innovating and finding new pathways for growth. R&B Africa Focus is back for its 5th season to unpack the conversations shaping the continent right now. Every week on 702, award-winning journalist Crystal Alderson takes a closer look at influential economies and emerging opportunities across Africa with insights from R&B experts and regional voices. Catch R&B Africa Focus Thursday on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. Make sure you watch the in-depth video series with episodes released weekly on Prime Media Plus. RMB, a leading African corporate and investment bank.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi John, Dave from Joburg. Just a quick question. why do they not take the drugs and destroy them in terms of burning them or whatever you do to destroy the drugs? I understand if there's an investigation, but you take photographs of the hundreds of kilograms you have, probably have to keep, maybe a few samples to be able to test them for whatever reason. But why do you need to keep 700 kilograms worth of drugs somewhere? I mean, it just opens up that opportunity for somebody to go and steal it. Just, get rid of it, burn it, get rid of it, keep photographic evidence, weigh the stuff, make sure you've got some samples, but you don't need to keep 700 kilograms of drugs, giving it the opportunity to get lost or stolen.
Good afternoon, John. I haven't been in the Johannesburg CBD doing a walk around in many years. I just drove through. But now when you talk about when there's talk of illegal structures on Small Street Mall, it really puzzles me because of we were there. I was there when Small Street opened, when it was still a mall. I remember how I used to frequent the place. It was a place to be then. And then we end up at Carlton Center at the time. It's really a shame what you've done to this country. Kabila and Pretoria.
Thanks for those messages. I mean, on keeping the full quantity of drugs that have been confiscated, I know that sentencing around drug possession, in drug possession cases, can include a consideration of how much, what quantity of drugs were actually seized. But anyone who's a lawyer or has been involved in criminal practice, perhaps as a prosecutor or a judge, I mean, why do you need to keep all that stuff? Why can't you destroy it? My understanding is you can only destroy it at the conclusion of a case, but I'm sure there's a much fuller argument and explanation from one amongst our multi-talented 702 family who can actually tell us exactly why you have to keep all 700 kilograms, that being the number in this specific matter. Call us with that, please, on 072 7021 702 18 to 4.
EWN Sport.
So, Tola Kelly, you've got all sorts of stuff in your bulletin, fair bit of football and some cricket as well. But first, one of our listeners has a question for you. Here it is.
Pleasant afternoon, Titi John and 702 lenders. Please find out for me from Tolagele that doesn't she find it odd that Mamelodi Sundowns are playing their final game today when it is not the final day of the league? More so that the title race is tightly contested between themselves and Pirates, right? Wouldn't it have made sense that that game or those games are played simultaneously, right? I'm keen to find out her thoughts about that. Thanks for a great show. Tsepo in Boxburg.
Tola Kelly, it's Seppo's question. Interesting one. What do you think?
I also agree it would be better that the last two rounds be played at the same time, but that would have happened if Sundowns didn't reach the CAF Champions League final. CAF already have their dates set out for finals, and that's why Sundowns have to play earlier. There was the argument of they could have played midweek next week, but they have to travel to North Africa. That's already a long journey on its own. That's why they have to play now. It's not great for the title race for us, the viewers and the watchers of the game, but for the travel logistics for the team themselves, that's why they're playing today rather than having to wait for the weekend to play their last few games.
Makes sense. Thanks for clarifying that. You got some cricket for us.
Absolutely. John, and Shabnan Ismail has reversed her international retirement and been called up to the Proteas women's squad for the upcoming T20 World Cup. Ismail is South Africa's all-time wicket taker in this format with 123 scalps and made the last of her appearances more than 3 years ago. She's joined by Marizan Gap, who's recovered from illness, while Dane van Niekerk has overcome a calf injury.
Yeah, it was a hard, long decision. I always say I have morals and values, and I think a lot of people know once I'm done, I'm done. But obviously, I had nice conversations with family, first of all, with my sister, with Trish, like people that's really, really close to my heart. And then obviously Coach Mandla as well. He's been messaging me. We actually had nice, positive conversations, to be honest.
Mamelodi Sundowns will play their last Betway Premiership game of the season this evening when they travel to a struggling TS Galaxy. The Brazilians need a big win and then to hope other teams do them a favour if they're to pip second on the Lagerlande Pirates to the title. Dennis Onyongo says they can draw inspiration from other championship races as they remain hopeful of extending their 8-year reign.
Yes, for the supporters, Sundown supporters, they must keep believing because we've done it before. I think there's a season we also won it at the death in Free State. Again, we won it again in the bubble. So they must just believe that it's possible, regardless of the situation and not being in our hands that much. We just need to win our last game and hope things can turn around.
For Pirates, they face uncertainty over their final league game on May 23rd. That's after host Orbit College revealed they're still looking for a suitable venue. That game was due to be played at the Royal Bafokeng Sports Palace, but the venue is now unavailable until the end of June. The club is in the process of securing an alternative compliant venue, which will be communicated by Friday. And in the Premier League, Tottenham Hotspur wasted a chance to ease their relegation fears after playing out a 1-1 draw with Leeds United. That result means that Spurs have not won at home since December. Roberto De Zebri's side are now just 2 points ahead of 18th placed West Ham United, with just 2 games left in the season.
As a coach, I have to consider the performances, not just the result. Because today, if we win, nothing changes in terms of performance. Because anyway, we didn't play a great game. But we have to be honest and to say we didn't play a great game, even if we win, no? And today we didn't win, we didn't play a great game, and we have to be honest.
Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by GWM, class-leading vehicles that help you navigate your journey. Let's start out in Midrand. Karabo Chali, I understand.
Yeah, there's a stationary truck slowing down traffic. This is heading into Sandton. So Midrand stationary truck N1 South before the Batru interchange, and this is causing delays all the way from Allendale Road in Birchley Kempton Park. There's still slow-moving traffic on Morafontein Road between Mooifontein Road and Mooi Rivier. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in Bramley, at Collet and the M1 North, while in the city of Tshwane, roadwork slowing down traffic. That's in the Linwood area on the N1 northbound between Linwood Road and the Brook Plus interchange. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Ever since fuel went up, you've had to endure a lot. Like helping your mom run errands while she tries to help you with your love life.
Hi, Bo. Kanti, when are you and Sfiso getting married? Pella, I want grandchildren.
Don't let the fuel hike put you under pressure. Get 5,000 Rand towards your fuel when you buy a Haval or P-Series this month. Visit gwm.co.za or your nearest dealer to book a test drive. GWM. Go with more.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, if you haven't started watching us on YouTube, now is a good time to do that because we have pretty much a full house. Tolakele has just stepped into the studio. Karabo Chali is here, as is Karabo Malapile. And if you peer closely through the glass at the far end of the shot, you can just see Jonathan Fairburn, and you can catch a glimpse as well of Rifue Litsua. Watch us on YouTube, and you can comment there as well using the live chat function. 702 Drive. We asked you a little bit earlier about things that, even though you're an adult and all those kind of nervousness moments that you might have had with your parents about your behavior ought to have gone, what are the things that you still kind of just can't do in front of your folks? Here's one of your comments. 0727021702 for your story, please.
Yeah, Rifua, now mommy knows, hey? For me, it's the same, the drinking. I love my cognac, but when I'm at home, I'll literally drink it in a teacup or a coffee mug, because a teacup is too small, in a coffee mug, and my mom knows that I drink. It's not that you're afraid. For me, it's just a respect thing. It's the same thing that a lot of makotis do with their mother-in-laws. But it's a respect thing. Like, to openly drink in front of my mom, I don't feel comfortable. And she used to not drink, now she dabbles. But still, I would never just walk up with a glass in the house. Yeah, it's the drinking, John, out of pure, good old-fashioned respect.
Yeah, thanks for that. And by the way, Tolakele, when I mentioned that you were now in the house, do you know that our streaming numbers went up 25%? And I'm being serious.
Thank you, John.
I looked. There we go. You are from now required to sit here for 3 hours. Bring snacks. Stuff you wouldn't do in front of your folks. if anything?
Shout out to that lady who's like, she doesn't drink. My parents, the minute I turned 21, I said to them, now is my time. Thankfully, my mom has a system where she's like, if you're going to drink, rather drink in front of us than be outside. The one thing, though, I can never tell them when I'm in a relationship. There's just something, I will only go to them if like it's serious enough to say there's a letter that's coming. Even if I'm going in that relationship and I'm having troubles, I can never just tell them, because I'm just like, you guys will have high expectations, but also there's like, why am I dating? Because my parents have always been those people like, all of those things. So I can never tell them when I'm in a relationship and things aren't working out.
Yeah, I must admit, I've always waited until I'm over a certain point. You know, I've certainly kept it on the down low when both my parents were still alive. 702 Drive, please keep those coming on 011 883 0702 072 702 1702. 9 minutes now to 4 o'clock.
John Perlman
On 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Well, today's International Nurses Day, very important moment on the calendar. And thanks to MediClinic, we're celebrating the nurses who lead with care, the people guiding patients through uncertainty, supporting families through difficult moments, and helping shape the future of healthcare in our country. As many experienced nurses approach retirement, an important question faces the profession and all of us, in fact. How do we inspire more young people to step into nursing? Because nursing is more than a career. It's leadership, mentorship, compassion, and care in action. So joining us now is Louise Aylward, who is Nursing Operations Manager at MediClinic Southern Africa. Her years of experience span bedside nursing, education, mentorship, and healthcare leadership across both the public and private sectors. Louise Aylward, welcome, and thanks so much for giving us your time. I asked the question, how do we inspire more young people to step into nursing? What inspired you to step into nursing when you were at the start of your career? Good afternoon.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon to you. I started my career long ago, as you can assume. And initially, I thought I wanted to care for animals, and then I was convinced that I should actually care for people. There are so many more opportunities, and then I learned also that you can do a degree in nursing. So that is where my nursing career started, and I've never looked back. There were so many opportunities and career development opportunities specifically that I could use that, it was a very good decision for me.
So we've got nurses approaching retirement. There are all sorts of other challenges facing the industry. South African nurses, much prized abroad in countries where they have their challenges and shortages. But if we were to look at the age profile now of South Africa in general, maybe MediClinic specifically, what are we looking at the moment? Does the curve suggest we've got a problem coming?
Yeah, John, it seems as if we're actually going backwards. I was looking at statistics from the South African Nursing Council and compared 2021 with 2025, and we could see that the nurses older than 45 years are actually increasing. We had 50% of those nurses in 21, and now we've got 56% of those nurses who are older than 45 years. And I think the biggest reason is that we had a lag in the intake and the training of nurses for some time, due to the move of nursing education from the Department of Health into the Department of Higher Education, which is really a positive move regarding the professionalism of nursing. But it took a long time for nursing colleges to be reaccredited for all the courses and the practical facilities to be reaccredited. So we really fell behind with the training of nurses in that time specifically. I think in MediClinic we find that we've got more younger people in the profession. For example, when I look at the older than 45, we've got only 29% of our staff currently there. So we've got a bigger number of young people, about 30% between 25 and 34 years of age. But we are concerned about the lack of the experienced nurses, I think, everywhere, and specifically the specialist nurses.
So we've got a question from one of our listeners. Tobile says, my daughter failed matric twice. She wanted to do nursing. Now she went to college doing NCV, which is equivalent to matric. Can she qualify? What are the requirements for nursing? So nice to hear there's keenness out there. Tobile's daughter obviously having a couple of challenging years, but keen to get back on track.
Yeah, very good to hear that she's keen to be nursing. However, there's also specific matric results that's a requirement for all the nursing courses. So we've got the 1-year auxiliary nurse course that you might be able to qualify for, but there are also specific matric results for that. And then definitely also for the diploma course, the 3-year diploma course, as well as the 4-year degree course. Nursing is quite taxing when it comes to the academic stuff that needs to be mastered, as well as the clinical areas, and we find that nurses really battle if they don't have very good matric results. So it's really something to be working on, and great that she's willing to repeat her matric for that.
Let's turn, Louise, to your current role, nursing operations manager, because I'm sure one of the things that you've been charged with and probably challenged by from time to time is recruitment, but secondly, retention. I mean, what is Mediclinic doing about that, and how well are you doing?
We have been working very hard at recruitment and retention. There's traditionally quite a high turnover of nurses, especially during the first 6 months of employment of young nurses, specifically. We call them novices. So we had hard recruitment drives to actually fill our positions, and I must say we've been quite successful. I looked this morning, I think we've got about 12% of vacant positions, which is really acceptable in our world. And then regarding retention, there's quite a lot to be done. I know that nurses are interested to build their career, and there are many training opportunities in Mediclinic also to advance in your career. There are different positions that can be filled, whether you want to be a clinical nurse or a nurse specializing in management or in education or even in nursing informatics these days. There are different career avenues that you can follow in Mediclinic, and there's support and requirements to meet for each one of those avenues.
And just a final question. I mean, when you talk to people in professions, particularly those who've put in the long stint that you have, you sometimes hear people say, "Oh, the job's not the same as it used to be." Is that a kind of a mixed thing for you? That yes, on the one hand, there were some good things in the past, but on balance, do you think it's still a wonderful profession, even if it might have changed?
I think there are changes, definitely. For example, we use more technology. There are more other structures that compete with our time very often to be at the bedside. But basically, nursing is still providing care for a person who's in need at the bedside. And that really energizes any nurse. Even me, who have very little direct contact with patients these days, when we go back to the hospitals and just be able to be amongst the nurses and see how the nurses nurse there, that really energizes one. And I think if you are a nurse at heart, and if you're qualified academically to do that, you will really be in a very good position to enjoy your profession throughout your career.
Thank you so much, Louise Aylward, Nursing Operations Manager at Mediclinic Southern Africa. They're joining us today to mark International Nurses Day. And by the way, if you are a nurse or you've had direct experience of being looked after by a nurse, perhaps you've had some difficult times and have been in hospital lately, but your stories from the wards, please. We'd love to hear from you, particularly from our nurses, the upsides, the downsides, the challenges, whatever is on your mind. We're keen to hear it. 072 702 1702.
702 Afternoons with Relebogile Mabotja.
702 Afternoons is about all things in life, from music to inspiration. We get an opportunity to explore science, mental health, food. I almost feel like there's nothing we don't do on my show. One of the things I absolutely love about 702 Land and the 702 family is that we are so sharing. We share tears, laughs, smiles. We share in the amazing times and celebrate together as well. We have a range of topics, but when it comes to what we do cover on the show, absolutely everything. My listener is somebody who wants to grow, evolve, develop. They're empathetic, they are loving. They are so special that even when they don't have, they come through and share, and more importantly, they know how to walk the talk.
702 Afternoons with Relebogile Mabotja. Weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9, featuring Proconics, Their GCEO, Melvin Jones, will be in conversation with Bongani Bingwa. And join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates that carries a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
In the world of finance, manufacturing, and mining, automating business processes is a crucial factor in stimulating an organization's growth and bottom line. Zoe Projects and Consulting, a specialized process engineering and automation firm, offers comprehensive data and business systems analysis to optimize your company's processes, to save time, reduce costs, and better efficiency. Go to zoeprojects.co.za and get in touch with Zoe Projects and Consulting today.
This is EWN.
The Health Minister's official vehicle kills a mother and a child, and Morero to submit response to Treasury with the city's purse under scrutiny. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. We begin with some disturbing news this afternoon. Police have confirmed a fatal crash involving the official vehicle of Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi, which killed a woman and her child. It's been 2 days since that accident occurred on the N1 near Bilabela in Limpopo. That was on Saturday. It's understood Motsoaledi was travelling in the vehicle, driven by a member from the Protection Security Services. Preliminary investigations indicate the woman was attempting to cross the highway with her 2 children, one of whom was strapped to her back when the vehicle struck them. According to police, the family was trying to reach the scene of an earlier accident in which the woman's husband was allegedly struck and killed by a vehicle driven by an off-duty police officer. Police spokesperson Athlenda Mate.
In line with standard protocol, the minister's close protector and the driver immediately stopped at the scene together with the minister and remained there until police and emergency medical services arrived. Statements were subsequently obtained from those present at the scene. 2 separate cases of culpable homicide are under investigation, and the circumstances surrounding both accidents form part of ongoing police investigations.
Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero says the city will submit a formal written response to National Treasury by the end of business today, following discussions with Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana. Morero says 2 meetings were held last week to address concerns raised by the minister on the city's handling of its finances. In a strongly worded letter, Godongwana cautioned the city on its ballooning wage bill, adding the city cannot afford the latest agreement with the SA Municipal Workers Union to the tune of 10.3 billion rand as it was not budgeted for. Morero dismissed speculation that the city could be placed under administration.
Today, by end of business, we'll then be sending a formal written response to the issues that the minister had raised, which we discussed on Friday, but now we need to put them in black and white on a response. And I can assure you, the city of Johannesburg is not at that stage where you can then talk about putting it under administration.
A crime analytics officer, Maruno Mahane, has conceded to tampering with evidence after admitting to touching a consignment of drugs without gloves. Mahane, a commander of the SAPS Crime Information Management and Analysis Center, has been testifying at the commission today. His testimony so far has largely focused on his presence at the scene of a July 2021 drug bust where police intercepted a truck carrying 741 kilograms of cocaine. Tabiso Koba reports.
As a crime analytics officer, Marumo Makhane's job is usually office-bound. However, on the 9th of July 2021, he took it upon himself to follow up on a tip about a truck carrying a large consignment of drugs in Ayrton, south of Johannesburg. Makhane says he was called to the scene by Chief Samuel Mashaba, a Gauteng traffic officer. When the 2 men attended to the truck, what followed was a comedy of errors. One of these was them breaking the seal of the truck's doors without photographing it first and unloading the drugs to Makhane's buggy without any gloves. Commission Chairperson Buiseli Madlanga was not impressed.
You were clueless and you knew that you were clueless.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Mashaba was clueless and you must have known that he too was clueless, correct?
Correct, Commissioner.
What on earth were you doing handling any of the objects there, the container and the contents? What on earth were you doing?
Commissioner, we were innocently trying to process this.
Magana has admitted he didn't follow any of the police processes for crime scene preservation. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Stats SA says the country's growing working age population is adding further pressure to an already strained job market. The latest labour force survey shows the country's official unemployment rate has risen to 32.7%, with more than 8 million people now without work. The data also shows South Africa's working age population has now grown to more than 42 million people. Mongezi Gogo reports.
Gauteng continues to have the largest working age population in the country, with more than 11.5 million people between the ages of 15 and 64. KwaZulu-Natal follows with just over 7.8 million people, while the Western Cape has more than 5.1 million. In the Eastern Cape, the working age population now stands at more than 4.6 million people, with most provinces recording year-on-year growth. Statistician General Risenga Maluleke.
When we look at the 8.1 million divided by total of those that are in the labor force, we are saying that our unemployment rate for the first quarter of 2026 is sitting at 32.7%.
Maluleke says the figures highlight the growing need for job creation, particularly for young people entering the labor market. Mungi Zikoko, Eyewitness News.
And in Japan, snack giant Calbee has announced plans to temporarily change its packaging as a result of the impact of the Middle East war. The company will now switch to black and white packaging for some of its best-known products, as supplies of an ingredient used in ink to create its normal packaging dwindle. It marks the latest example of how everyday goods are being impacted after Iran effectively closed the Strait of Hormuz waterway. The decision was taken by Iran in retaliation for US and Israeli strikes on the country. In recent weeks, companies around the world have warned that supply disruptions to things like fuel, plastics and helium are pushing up costs for their businesses. Gold is trading at $4,699.08 an ounce. The rand is at 16.51 to the dollar, 22.36 to the pound, 19.40 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $107.36 a barrel.
Bursley, Kempton Park, there's slow-moving traffic on Modderfontein Road between Mooifontein Road and Mooirivier, and in Linwood, Pretoria, roadworks causing heavy delays on the N1 northbound from Rigel Avenue to the Proof Plus interchange.
In your sport, Proteas women's squad for the ICC T20 World Cup is named. One roll of the dice left for Mamelodi Sundowns in their bid to win the Midday Premiership title, and Graham Henry roped in to pick the All Blacks team.
A fine and nippy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 6 degrees, peaking at a high of 22. Pretoria 8 and 25, and Vereeniging 5 at a high of 20 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: police have confirmed a fatal crash involving the official vehicle of Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi, which has killed a woman and her child.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
We're calling on Joburg to walk the inner city with us. In 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 9 minutes past 4. Today we digest more bad news about employment and unemployment. 345,000 jobs have been lost in 3 months. I call them 345,000 jobs. I should be saying 345,000 people have lost their jobs, because what that really does correctly conjure up, I think, in most people's minds is people are connected to other people, and the consequences of a lost job affect 8, 9, 10 people. Maybe if you've lost a job or are connected to somebody who has, you might have a very precise and acute view of exactly what the consequences are of that. We're going to focus on one of the particular numbers in this bleak picture, the sectors where most jobs have been lost 206,000 jobs in the government and social services sector. I'm struck by that, I must say, and I'm keen to know, by the way, if you work in government, are you aware of people losing jobs? Have you perhaps come to the end of the road in the place where you're working in government? Give us a call on that. But we're also going to focus in on construction, which, has so often been held up as the next big thing alongside tourism and agribusiness to make sure the South Africans have somewhere to work, both for the money and the dignity. But construction over this quarter has shed 110,000 jobs. What is going on? I can't remember a State of the Nation address where the president hasn't spoken about turning the country into a construction site. That appears, if it's to, I don't know if I can say not to be happening, but it's certainly not happening on the scale that his optimistic prediction suggested it would. We'll get some insights from Zenzele Mabuza joining us from Master Builders South Africa. But just on the jobs thread, I'm very keen to hear from you. If you've got some ideas about how, in particular, we can get young people their very first job, how do we get them into the world of work? Because it's a massive obstacle when you apply, I would think, and people say, well, where have you worked before? And the answer is, I haven't. That must be a massive, massive hurdle to get over. So whatever ideas you have, and you don't need to be an entrepreneur, you don't need to be an expert in economics, but maybe just a gut feel, this or that would absolutely work and make a huge difference. Give us a call on that on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. We'd love to get your thoughts. We asked you a little bit earlier about whether you continue to hide things from your parents, stuff you don't do in front of them. Let us know what that is. We'll hear from a few of you in a moment, and a couple of you as well. I asked about stories of being a nurse. Well, we've got a few of those too. Let's take a listen.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Yeah, the one thing I don't do in front of my mother is swear. Swearing. Like, I don't really swear a lot anyway. But, even if I'm quoting someone else, I prefer not to even say anything. And it's quite strange because my mother swears quite a lot. So, but I don't know. I just prefer not to. And I think all my siblings are the same.
I'm John. I'm in my early 60s, 61. And my parents are late. They've never seen me drinking. And I've been drinking since my school days. But luckily 3 years ago, I just chose to be clean. I've been clean for 3 years. And my parents have never seen me drinking. Thank you. Taru Dipluf.
Good afternoon, Brad John and the team. I'm a nurse for almost 22 years. And I accidentally became a nurse because my mom's friend was a nurse. After finishing matric, she just said, you know what? Can I take this little man and give him a job? Only to find out that that job is a nursing job. And here I am, 22 years. Thereafter, I've never looked back. I've done bedside nursing. I've worked in a laboratory. Currently, I am a nurse on the road. I've been doing this for over 16 years now, being on the road. And here, the only problem with this, it's just the stereotype of people that I come across. Like, they got surprised when I tell them that I'm a nurse. They are used to nurse being a female. So even my friends, sometimes they joke around me saying, ooh, nurse, sister nurse. So, yeah, it's one of those. Thanks. Thanks, Brajon.
Yeah, thank you for all of those. We'll come back with some more of your messages and your contributions. I see we've got some calls as well. Please remember that we're live in the place where you live, and we are not always in the place where you live. And that means there might be news or information or angles to the news that we're already covering that you're in a very good position to share with us. Please don't hesitate. If there's something we're missing, we need to know about it. You could help. 072 702 1702. Those lost building jobs, what's happening? That's coming up in a moment, but traffic first.
EWN Traffic.
Karabo Charlie, how are we looking? Kempton Park, some delays, I believe.
Yeah, that's in the Perchley area. Slow-moving traffic on Modderfontein Road between Mooifontein Road and Mooi Rivier. Orange Grove, we've received a report of a minibus taxi that has overturned on Louis Botha Road. That's near the Ruleville Caltex garage. So please look out for that. There's also traffic delays. This is in the Northcliffe area. This is on Bayers Nodia between Judges and the N1 in Linwood, Pretoria. Roadwork still slowing down traffic on the N1 northbound from Rigel Avenue all the way to the Proof Plus interchange. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
My show is about getting you informed by the time you get to the office, your place of business, or wherever you need to go. Hopefully, you have a fairly good idea what's happening in Johannesburg, in Gauteng, and around the world. We want you to be part of those water cooler conversations, and you will be part of those conversations because you'll be a better informed citizen. What I like about the 702 family and 702 land is the ecosystem that we have built, the community. It's all about connection because we may be different, but ultimately the people you talk to and the people you hear are facing issues just like you.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m.
Africa's Travel in Durban is happening from 12 to 14 May at the Durban Exhibition Centre. Look out for the Resurgence Conference Durban activation and learn about the July conference, which is focused on unlocking investment and connecting businesses to opportunities. Hosted in partnership with USA partners, Resurgence is where innovation, tourism and growth meet. Visit stand DEC1 H41. That's DEC1 H41. This message is brought to you by the eThekwini Municipality.
It's another girl!
Yes! Families multiply, fees shouldn't. With Ultimate Banking, you get support for every chapter. Get discounted banking for your spouse and give each of your children a head start with a Mega U account. Because as your family grows, your banking should keep up. Apply online. Your story matters. ABSA. Terms and conditions apply. ABSA is an authorized financial services provider.
For many South Africans living with blood cancer or blood disorders, a stem cell donor is their only hope for a second chance at life. Right now, someone is waiting for a match. This World Blood Cancer Month, be the reason they get another moment, a birthday, and a chance at a full life. Visit dkmsafrica.org and register to become a stem cell donor today.
Not all leaders stand at the front of the room. Some stand at the bedside or the nurse's station, guiding, reassuring, and caring when it matters most. This International Nurses Day, Mediclinic celebrates the nurses whose compassion and leadership strengthen lives and communities every single day. Because true leadership in nursing isn't only about caring for patients today, it's about guiding and inspiring the nurses of tomorrow. Mediclinic thanks all nurses for the humanity, skill, and leadership they show every day. Thank you for leading with care. Mediclinic, expertise you can trust.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, let's focus our attention now on the latest jobs and employment numbers. They do not make good reading. Agriculture has managed to weigh in with 30,000 more jobs. Of course, the first quarter of the year complicated to some degree, or the overall predicament that we're in does get exacerbated by the large number of matric students, those not going to university or tertiary of any kind, who find themselves on the job market. That said, worrying to see that there have been significant job losses in the government and social services sector, but also in construction, which shed 110,000 jobs. So, what exactly is going on in terms of construction? Infrastructure-led growth is a phrase we've heard a lot over the years. It doesn't seem to be happening, certainly not in terms of jobs created. Zenzele Mabuza is joining us from Master Builders South Africa. Welcome to the show, and thanks so much for giving us your time. The job loss numbers, any idea what's at the root of it? Is this something that might just be about this quarter, or is it a deeper problem?
Good afternoon to you, John, and the listeners at home. John, South Africa's construction sector remains under significant pressure, and the reported loss of approximately 110,000 jobs reflects deeper structural and economic challenges facing the industry. So the construction is heavily dependent on infrastructure investment, project pipelines, economic confidence, and when infrastructure delays or is slowed down, employment in the sector is affected very quickly. The industry has been under sustained pressure for several years due to a combination of economic and sector-specific challenges. One of the key issues, John, to note is that it has been slow rollout of infrastructure projects, particularly in the public sector. As we may all know, that contractors rely heavily on steady pipeline of infrastructure work,
Indeed,
sustain operations and employment.
Yeah.
So when projects are delayed, postponed or cancelled, the impact on employment is immediate because construction is highly project-driven, John.
So, Mr. Mabuza, I mean, we have heard about these delays from the government side for a long time now. I'm not telling you anything I'm sure that you don't know. And we've heard at the same time that all of that is going to be dealt with and addressed. Are you seeing any progress at all in speeding up those government programs? Because it's not just your industry that's affected, but, you know, the bridges, roads, sewage treatment plants and so on. The fact that they're not getting built is bad for the citizenry as well. Are we seeing anything by way of improvement?
Well, John, while government has outlined an ambitious infrastructure and transport investment programs, the reality is that the construction industry is still experiencing the effects of delayed project implementation. The slow procurement processes, rising costs, and uneven infrastructure rollout. So that's we have had the right noises, but the implementation is slow on rolling out the projects, John.
Well, I mean, if you speak to your members, presumably they can only invest on the basis of a degree of predictability. Now, obviously, in a tender, there's only a certain number of winners, sometimes just one. So I get that people don't always expect that they are going to, get a particular tender. But there must be some degree of certainty. Are there some companies who are just saying, look, we can't carry on like this. We're going to look for other markets?
Well, John, there's been progress in terms of projects rollout. We've heard from the Minister of Transport that there are projects that will be rolled out from Central Rail, the Durban Port expansion, the Moloto Corridor, and to Wild Coast, the passenger rail upgrades. So we're hoping the speedy rollout of those projects so that construction activities can kick off, so that these employment numbers can get back to where they used to be.
What about training programs? I mean, obviously, investment in training presumes jobs for people who have now got skills and can make themselves more employable, but hopefully earn a bit more money from that. I mean, are we going to eventually pay for this in a downturn in investment in training as well? Mr. Mabuza, I don't know if you got the question. Okay, we seem to have just lost Zele Mabuza there for a moment. Let's just remind you of some of the other things we're going to be doing on the show a little bit later. Important decision in the Constitutional Court where they've ruled that, in fact, they overturned a decision at the Supreme Court of Appeal. This in regard to to people whose applications for refugee status are turned around, and in regard to whether they can stay in the country while they apply again. The Concord says they can't. The implications are substantial. More on that after 5. I think we have Zenzele Mabuza back. In terms of investment in training and skilling, I mean, is this having a downstream effect? If we're losing jobs, presumably companies are losing money. And if both those things are happening, maybe we're going to find ourselves with a training backlog again.
Definitely, John. This will have a serious impact where the guys that we've trained, they would look for jobs elsewhere or even outside the country.
Yes.
So we need to get those projects rolled out as soon as possible, John.
Thank you very much. Zenzele Mabuza joining us from Master Builders South Africa. Now, we asked you if you had any ideas about how to get young people into the world of work. Construction has had a very difficult quarter, losing 110,000 jobs, but I know there are good ideas out there. Let's hear a few of yours.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Hi, John. Yeah, just in terms of employment and getting the youth into employment, I myself am one of the 345,000 people that lost their jobs in the last 3 months as a chartered accountant. And I would honestly say for these kids, they need to get into artificial intelligence. Those are skills that are ubiquitous and transferable across industries and not just sitting in one industry. Yeah. Mikey from Centurion.
I just think the taxi industry can create lots of work, as down at the coast you have a conductor that sits in the taxi, normally a young man, and he collects fares, washes the taxi and does a bit of general maintenance and servicing. And in Gauteng, that is lacking terribly. So I think the taxi industry can really come to the party up here in Johannesburg and create some needed work.
Yeah, it's interesting. Thank you for both of those, though, and to the listener who talks about having just lost a job. So sorry to hear that, and I really hope your fortunes take a turn upwards. On the thing of taxis, I've noticed it in Cape Town. But is it a thing on the KZN coast as well, or is it just a Western Cape thing? I've always heard the people in the vehicle who sit in the vehicles referred to as gachis. And I don't know if that's a common term that gets used, but yeah, they're in work. And I didn't know that, by the way, their work extends to cleaning the taxis, fixing them, and so on. Somebody might argue, well, there are already many businesses that do that, for example, up in Johannesburg or Brakpan or wherever it is in the interior, in which case you might solve one problem and create another. But it's an interesting idea. People in the taxi industry, first of all, is this just Western Cape, or is it a KZN Eastern Cape thing as well? And secondly, might that cut into a couple of small businesses who make money servicing the taxi industry? So call us on that. 28 minutes past 4.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, a very good afternoon to you. Naspers process having a bad day, and as they go south, we go with them, it would seem, as regards the JSE.
Indeed, John, good afternoon. Yes, so Process did say they had an update today, and that's what seems to have caused all the trouble. It's a bit surprising in a way. It shouldn't necessarily be like this. But what happened was they had an update. They did say that all of their divisions, their departments were now making money, but the market not really happy. They did say they would meet their guidance. So I thought that it was just interesting that the reaction was quite that bad. They have also said that Just Eat has turned a corner. It'll increase its revenue this year. The big factor, of course, though, is Brent crude, and it is up, John. It's up to just under $108 a barrel now, so that always has the usual impact. The JSE All Share down 1.43 at the moment, 116,746. Financials down 0.82. Industrials down nearly 2%, and resources down 1.66% at the moment. So British American Tobacco, they're up 5%. Good defensive stock, of course. The Bytes Group, they're up 4%. 24.47. This is the technology group based primarily in the UK. Their gross profit was up by 2.5% for the year ending in February. Their gross invoiced income up by 11.5%. But one of the big stories perhaps is actually around MTN. So MTN were down quite strongly earlier in the day. And the main reason for that is not so much their overall numbers, but what's been happening in South Africa. So their group service revenue was up 20% in the first quarter of the year. Their data revenue up 36%, fintech revenue up over 22%. But their South African operation, their EBITDA down here 12.5%, voice revenue down 9.6%, fintech revenue down 18%. John, what's happened is because the prepaid markets got so tight, so much competition, people using prepaid data to make calls on WhatsApp, etc. They've lowered everyone's tried to lower their costs for that, their fees, and that's really had a bit of an impact on their bottom line, as you can imagine. In the US, we're also seeing that Vodacom is up 1.34%, Absa is up 0.76%, and then Sasol benefiting from a higher oil price, they're up 2.4%. So yes, Process down nearly 6%, Pick and Pay down nearly 4%, the Foschini Group down further, John. They were down nearly 13% yesterday, down 3.4% today, and then Dis-Chem and Clicks both down by around 3%, both considered very good businesses. The story really is about the strength of the consumer with higher oil prices. It's really about that. In the US, so a little bit of a negative open, a couple of things going on. Obviously, sort of hopes for a quick resolution in the Middle East, that's fading. But then also inflation numbers coming in higher than expected in the US. The Dow Jones is down 0.47, the Nasdaq is down 0.82, the S&P 500 is down 0.5% at the moment. In the gold price, $4,688.91 an ounce, platinum $2,114.67, Brent crude $107.92 a barrel, and the rand to the dollar 16.51 to the euro, 19.37 to the British pound, 22.33. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Right, let's get out to the news desk. Stephen, by the way, back with us at about 5:25 with the market close and a look ahead to tonight's Money Show coming your way between 6 and 8. That tragedy involving the health minister, Mbali Dlamini, leading your bulletin.
That's correct, John. A very good afternoon. Police have confirmed that fatal crash involving the official vehicle of Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi, which killed a woman and her child. It's been 2 days since the accident occurred on the N1 near Bilabela in Limpopo on Saturday. It's understood Motsoaledi was travelling in that vehicle, driven by a member from the Protection Security Services. Preliminary investigations indicate the woman was attempting to cross the highway with her 2 children, one of whom was strapped to her back when the vehicle struck them. According to police, the family was trying to reach the scene of an earlier accident in which the woman's husband was allegedly struck and killed by a vehicle driven by an off-duty police officer. Police spokesperson Athlenda Mate.
In line with standard protocol, the minister's close protector and the driver immediately stopped at the scene together with the minister and remained there until police and emergency medical services arrived. Statements were subsequently obtained from those present at the scene. 2 separate cases of culpable homicide are under investigation, and the circumstances surrounding both accidents form part of ongoing police investigations.
Nearly 11,000 structures have been damaged by recent inclement weather conditions in Cape Town. The city's Disaster Risk Management Centre says around 42,000 people have been directly affected. Flooding has led to evacuations and infrastructure damage. Authorities say nearly 2,000 homes have been flooded or destroyed in informal settlements, including Philippi and Khayelitsha. The city's Charlotte Powell says assessments in informal settlements are being submitted to SASSA and the National Department of Human Settlements. She adds that the Roads and Infrastructure Management Department is attending to affected city roads.
The findings of the assessments are being submitted to SASSA as the agency mandated to provide humanitarian assistance, as well as the National Human Settlements Department. The weather conditions are set to start easing later today.
At the same time, SADC leaders are moving to strengthen disaster preparedness and emergency response systems across southern Africa as extreme weather continues to devastate parts of the region. Ministers responsible for disaster risk management will be meeting in Zimbabwe this week to discuss coordinated strategies. The meeting comes as several SADC countries grapple with severe storms, flooding and destructive weather conditions. Nkosikwana Malingamnisi reports.
South Africa has classified a national state of disaster as severe storms continue to affect several provinces. The Western Cape is among the hardest hit areas with flooding, infrastructure damage, power outages and growing humanitarian concerns. SADC leaders say stronger regional cooperation and faster emergency responses are needed to deal with climate-related disasters. COGTA Minister Velenkosi Nihlabisa is attending the SADC meeting in Masvingo, Zimbabwe as chairperson. Key discussions include improving disaster risk management, strengthening coordination among member states, enhancing early warning systems, and advancing the SADC Humanitarian and Emergency Operations Center. Senior officials are meeting today and tomorrow ahead of the ministerial session on the 13th and 14th of May. Sikhona Malingamnisi, Eyewitness News.
A fine and nippy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of between 6 and 8 degrees and highs of between 20 and 25.
In Melrose, there's an accident seen on the M1 northbound. This is before Corlett Avenue, causing heavy delays all the way from Glenhove, leaving Santon, heading towards Bryanston. Traffic sluggish on Santon Drive between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive.
The top story in EWN. Police have confirmed a fatal crash involving the official vehicle of Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi, which killed a woman and her child on Saturday.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
President made an announcement and he says, I'm not going anywhere. Did that surprise you, or was that what you would expect?
Certainly, Bongani, in the short term, that is what I would expect. And they would have calculated the time frame, at least that they go with Cyril Ramaphosa into the local government election. But as you can see, the DA and others are pressing for the impeachment process to continue, which will be very damaging to the brand of the ANC.
He'll be gone by Christmas?
So maybe early in the new year, not by Christmas. Remember, the elections are in November. So they might be looking at January, February.
Goodness me, we don't know what's going to happen. It's anybody's guess, is it not? Sandy Lesana.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Well, today is International Nurses Day, and it's time to consider this. Leadership takes many forms. Sometimes it's making the critical call. Sometimes it's teaching, guiding, mentoring. Sometimes it's simply being there, fully present when someone needs it most. You know, the nurses who guide patients through uncertainty, support families through difficult moments, and uplift the teams around them every single day, pretty much do all of those things: the critical call, the teaching, the guiding and mentoring. As many experienced nurses across South Africa approach retirement, leadership in nursing has become more important than ever. And then there's the future of healthcare as well. Not only the care that nurses provide, but the inspiration, mentorship and example they pass on to tomorrow's nurses. So Mediclinic would like to thank all nurses for leading with care and helping shape the future of healthcare in our country. Mediclinic, expertise you can trust.
Switching was so quick and easy. I'm happy with the premium that I'm paying now.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a guaranteed premium for 12 months even if you claim? For electrical, tradesman services and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
In business, missed deliveries cost more than money. Go Girl Logistics is South Africa's 100% black female-owned Level 1 Triple BEE powerhouse, delivering secure, time-sensitive transport for parcels, cold chain cargo, and compliance waste. With DG trained drivers, cold chain certification, national reach, and real-time tracking, every load is handled professionally, safely, and on time. Go Girl Logistics, power beyond cargo. Visit gogirl-logistics.com.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
This is Rob from Santon. With regards to Mr. Motswaledi's convoy, no doubt the convoy was speeding in excess of the speed limit, as they always do 100% of the time. So if the minister's convoy had adhered to the speed limit, would the baby and the mother have been killed? Is this a case of murder or a case of culpable homicide? My argument is, if you speed knowingly, then you are piloting a instrument of death. Therefore, the minister should be charged with murder. Thank you.
John, hiding things from your parents. So I was 34. My parents did not know I was smoking, and I was playing a hockey game, and the paper managed to take a photo of me with a cigarette in my hand. My mother could not believe that I was smoking. I hid it so well, and it wasn't anything other than I knew my mother hated someone who smokes.
Thanks for that. We were asking you about things that you could not do, still can't do in front of your parents. It's quite amazing and interesting that how much smoking comes up. Lindy says, my husband is 70 years old. We both smoke to this day. 24 years later into our marriage, none of his siblings or side of the family know he smokes. It's always blamed on me when there is a cigarette smell. I've been tempted, but I have never snitched on him. And another smoking one. This person wants to remain anonymous. Let me see if I can find this. Yeah, nearly there. I'm a smoker in my 40s. I've been hiding since I started. My whole family knows I smoke. I've been caught numerous times. TS, worse at family gatherings because I'm forever hiding behind a bush or a car. I always used to joke and say that at least at my wedding I'll be grown and can smoke publicly, but I spend most of my time at my wedding in a bush, secretly smoking. 13 years later, I'm still hiding and presumably missing a phrase there, and still smoking. On the thing, by the way, of the, we're just trying to get some kind of update on what is actually happening in regards to that accident involving the health minister. So let me hold my comments on that for the moment. It's 19 minutes to 5.
EWN Sport.
Tolakele Mganga, a team now all selected and ready to go to the Women's T20 World Cup. Who's going?
Well, John, it's Shabnan Ismail and former captain Dane van Gogh who've been named in the Proteas women's squad for their T20 World Cup, which gets underway next month. Ismail is back after retiring from international cricket in 2023, while van Gogh returns to fulfill an all-rounder role in the middle order. Ismail is South Africa's all-time top wicket taker in this format with 123 scalps, and is hoping she can help the team finally get over the line, having lost each of the last two T20 World Cup finals.
I never thought I'd come back and play, obviously, but I actually, in saying that as well, I miss playing cricket in general. And obviously playing at the highest level, playing against the best of the best in the world, it would be actually really great for me to come back and still see if I can portray my skills and still execute when I come out there. Like I mentioned before, I'm a really hard worker, and I just want to go out there and obviously do my thing, and then also the most important part is try help win the World Cup.
Mamelodi Sundowns have one last chance to swing the Bedway Premiership title race in their favour when they take on TS Galaxy this evening. The Brazilians are top of the table, but it's second place Orlando Pirates who have the advantage as they have a game in hand and a superior goal difference with 2 rounds of the season left. Dennis Onyongo and his teammates can be confident of victory as their opponents haven't won a league game since January, which is a run of 12 games.
We can't just take every game or any game for granted. We have to give our best in every game and see how far we can go, because we can't guarantee that the other people will win, but we just need to stay focused and win our games.
LeBron James is unsure what the future holds after the LA Lakers were knocked out of the NBA playoffs by Oklahoma City Thunder, who claimed a 4-0 victory in the best-of-7 Western Conference semi-final. The 41-year-old is out of contract at the end of the season and is the leading point scorer in NBA history, having also won 4 titles.
I mean, what my future, I don't know, obviously. I mean, obviously we're still fresh from obviously losing. I mean, I don't know what the future holds for me, obviously, as it stands right now tonight. I got a lot of time. I'll sit back like I think I said it last year after we lost, I think, to Minnesota, to go back and recalibrate with my family and talk with them and spend some time with them. And then when the time comes, obviously, you guys will know what I decide to do.
And World Cup winning former New Zealand coach Graham Henry is back in the All Blacks fold as a selector for Dave Rennie's team. But fly half Richie Mwanga's return has been pushed back due to eligibility concerns. Henry coached the All Blacks in 140 matches from 2004 until 2011 before taking roles for several teams including Argentina and Leinster. Mwanga has not been called up as he's yet to sign a new long-term contract with New Zealand Rugby and we need to play for Canterbury in the National Provincial Championship to earn the right for selection. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Coming up 4:45 on 702 Drive. Let's get some traffic updates now with Karabo Charlie starting out in Jet Park.
That's heading towards Boksburg, John. It looks like a minibus taxi has overturned. This is opposite Emperor's Palace on the R21 southbound near Griffiths, causing huge delays if you're leaving OR Tambo International Airport heading towards Boksburg. Benchley, Captain Park, we still have slow-moving traffic on Modderfontein Road between Moy Fontaine Road and Moy Refir. Pulls off, expect about a 20-minute delay. A 20-minute delay. This is on Witkoppen Road between Main and Stonehaven, while in Rosebank, accident scene M1 North before Collett Avenue, causing heavy delays from Glenove. Leaving Sandton, heading towards Bryanston. Traffic sluggish on Sandton Drive between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive in the Joburg CBD. Travelling towards Boysons, bumper-to-bumper traffic M1 South from Killarney Bends to the Crown Interchange. Northcliffe, traffic heavily backed up on Bayers Noidea between Judges and the N1. And finally in Linwood, roadworks slowing down traffic N1 northbound from Rigel Avenue all the way to the Proof Plus Interchange. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, 14 minutes to 5. What is that thing that you lend people? Now, we're excluding money here. What is the most common regular thing that you lend to people and you don't get back? I wonder if there is one single thing in common. So please do give us a call and let's build up a list. Tolakele, do you, I don't know if you're a lender or a borrower, but if you are more of a lender, what's the stuff that you actually know? You know what? I'm probably not going to get this back.
Unfortunately, and I do love to spend money on this, but books. People always love borrowing books from me, but
yes,
maybe like 15% of the time I get those books back.
As little as 15%?
Yeah.
Do you make a list of who's got what book? Do you have a little book?
I always give it to the people with the intention. I never make a list of saying this person has this book and this person has this book. I just would hope in the deepest, nicest part of their hearts, they're like, this book has an owner, and like the library, I have to return it.
I must tell you, I've been running a little library here out of the studio because we talked about books and somebody borrowed a book and then I recommended another book. So there's 3 or 4 people and I'm getting everything back, hey? Yeah.
John, I might need you to write an email for me so I can send to specific
anyone
people.
Anyone here who has your books?
Not in this room, but definitely in this building.
All right. Well, maybe we can do like a siren or something and call everyone together who has your books. How about you, Karabo Charlie?
Yeah.
What's the thing you either forget to give back or that people kind of forget to give back to, and you probably in your heart of hearts know you're not going to get it back?
Both. I'm guilty as charged, and I also I'm a victim of people not bringing my charger back. So that somebody will borrow a charger here at work, and then we'll both forget about it, and then I'll only remember when I get home when I need to charge my phone.
But
and
you can't call them for the charger because
you can't call them because your phone is probably dead. So yeah, the charger is a big problem, eh?
I have never not got a charger back because I'm always skinny in terms of the amount of charging capacity I have either in my bag, in my vehicle, or in my home. Things you lend out in the kind of certain knowledge that you're probably not going to get them back. And if you have a blind spot, stuff you borrow but forget to return, please do give us a call. Now, we had that voice note, and I was about to comment on, I think it was Robert who sent us the message, talking about charging the Minister of Health with either culpable homicide or murder. Now, my understanding is the minister wasn't driving, so I don't know the extent to which that makes a passenger in a vehicle culpable. Are you responsible for the way in which other people in either the vehicle you are driving or in a convoy of which you are part, the extent to which you are legally responsible? I get there may well be moral and ethical issues that come into play there. But what I particularly want to share with you, police have launched investigations into two separate cases of culpable homicide. According to spokesperson Brigadier Atlenda Mate, the IPID, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, has taken over the investigations as both of the drivers involved are members of the SAPS. That's what we know so far. If we get anything else, we will let you know. It's 11 minutes to 5.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Well, something that really has been a burning conversation for football fans has been VAR, the review system that's used in a number of countries, also used at the World Cup, also used in big tournaments like AFCON, the UEFA Champions League, and so on. And obviously at the center of it, decision made in the Arsenal-West Ham game. But VAR and controversy never far apart.
There's space here for the Ivorian. He wants a handball. It's a penalty! Oh, my word! It's glanced him off the side of the head. VAR has come to the right decision here. Levi Colwell did not handle that.
Okay, so that's just an example of VAR at work. VAR has come to the right decision. I don't know how often that happens compared to when people are unhappy with it. I'm broadly in favor of VAR, I have to say. Although what I do find, if it involves a team that I'm supporting, I hate the delay before you can actually leap out of your seat and scream with joy. But let's turn to another issue, because at the moment, South African football does not have VAR. But a very interesting story in the Sowetan today says that SAFA's Finance Committee Chair, Mxolisi Sibam, has confirmed that the body has received 20 million rand in funding from the government to implement the video assistant referee. Now, at the time when this was mooted for South Africa, we had a conversation, and a very interesting and detailed one, with my next guest, asking questions about what exactly is likely to be the full cost of implementing this, because it's not just a set of technological solutions. There's a training program to go with it, and there's a per match cost of having people who are on standby to actually implement VAR. Ngobile Ndlovu is founder of Cash and Sport Research and Advisory and joins us once again to talk about VAR and its implementation here. Ngobile, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. 20 million rand, how far does that go towards what I'm sure you at least have an idea of is the full and final cost?
Good afternoon. 20 million rand is quite a way off. When we first spoke, I said, according to our research and our analysis, it would cost roughly 80 million rand to implement VAR. And government has also confirmed since that it will cost somewhere in the region of about 85 to 90 million. So the initial tranche doesn't go that far. It essentially pays for the costs of those researching the project, ensuring that we get good quotes, and we start the project. But it will not implement VAR as it is.
Can I ask why the phase you've just described would cost 20 million rand? I mean, it's well-established technology. I mean, I'm struggling to see what 20 bar would need to be spent on.
Well, there's the travel and accommodation of all of the staff. The people also still need to be paid, and then there's multiple different providers of the who actually build what we call the VAR hub,
right,
where essentially you would have all of the screens and the technology where all of the feeds would be beamed into, which is one center. Now that technology costs money and the building of the facility. So that's where this 20 million is going to.
Okay.
Primarily is the cost of the people involved in terms of managing the system, but the large chunk is towards actually starting to build up a VAR hub where essentially they would beam all of the feed into. I don't have the exact details of how exactly they've spent that money, but according to my discussions with people, that's where it's gone into.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, if you're planning to build something, and whether it's a system or infrastructure and technology or mix of both, as I'm sure is the case in this particular instance, you must wonder if you don't have at least a certain proportion of the money guaranteed and hopefully in the bank. Is there a substantial risk in getting started but not being able to get all the way across the river?
That is a substantial risk because we don't know where the rest of the funding will come from. If you recall, last year, the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture had stated that they would pull funding from other departments to push money into this project, which has since been reversed as a decision. And now they've essentially gone to market and said that they will find the money from elsewhere. I think from my discussions that money will probably come from a sponsor, and there will be someone who was probably already in line who will then foot the rest of the bill. Because VAR should be a competency of the South African Football Association, but they don't have the funds to do it. So someone else has to come up with the money.
I mean, if the PSL is going to be the primary beneficiary of VAR, unless they've said categorically to the Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture, Gayton McKenzie, that, listen, we don't want this, or in our list of spending priorities, that's fairly low down. But if they say, yeah, listen, this would be great, we need it in South African football, surely they should be putting money in. I mean, PSL has got big sponsors, Betway sponsoring the league, MTN and Nedbank contributing to cups, Carling is a contributor. I mean, they have cash.
The PSL, for all intents and purposes, is essentially almost operates as an NPO. All of that money goes straight into the clubs.
Right.
The PSL generates roughly 1.4 billion rand annually. About 90% of that money goes back into football and grants and so on and so on. So it's the PSL has very little money left at the end of an annual financial year to essentially put money aside towards VAR. But the PSL, from having conversations, wasn't at the forefront of VAR. Essentially, they were told that VAR is coming, and they didn't push for it because they don't have the budget for it. And neither did SAFA. SAFA had been speaking about it, but for all intents and purposes, this is mostly a Department of Sports, Arts and Culture project more than it is a football project.
Yeah, I mean, and that raises an interesting point. I mean, I'm struggling when I contemplate all the other sporting needs that we have in the country, and particularly in the areas of sports development. Is 20 million rand of public money, in your view, a good way to spend scarce resources? I get that the private sector puts money into sport at all different levels, and I'm involved with that to a degree with the NGO that I run that does football and netball in rural and township schools. But 20 million rand is a lot of public money for what is at the end a private sector beneficiary.
This is true. Football is a private sector beneficiary, but it has huge economic impact for the country and society at large. So I think if the budget was there and it's being allocated from money that was already there anyway, I don't think that there's so much of a problem because each government department has to decide where they're going to put their money and find best use for it. I'm not so sure, in my personal opinion, and I've said this quite a number of times, that the sports ministry should be paying for it. But I guess that's their priority. In my opinion, I think there's other ways to do it, such as finding partners and commercial agreements that make it happen. But, I mean, if they had the budget and it was allocated towards sport and they've decided to use it for this, then that's their prerogative.
And just finally, Ngobile, I want to return to something that I raised in the middle of our conversation. I'm a little bit concerned that if you sink 20 million into some of what you are describing as capex, and I know these are not oranges; it's not going to rot. But if you don't get the rest of the money pretty quickly, I would have thought that this could be redundant infrastructure because it's not really fit for anything else, unless I'm wrong.
Yeah, VAR as a tool, and part of the reason why I'm circumspect around its implementation for the beginning of the next season is this. We have a World Cup that's coming up now, so all of the service providers are all going to be busy around the FIFA World Cup. It's difficult to then get those people down here and then get them to implement during the duration of a World Cup. Secondly, you also need technology to be implemented at every PSL stadium so that you have the same standards, so that when you can't have VAR at some matches and some matches not. You have to implement it across the board. We don't currently have that. That still needs to happen. And the funding, the additional 60 million, still needs to be found in order for that to happen. We have a very short turnaround between now and the beginning of the new season. I don't know how it will be possible, and I would not be surprised if we get to the new season and then they say VAR will be implemented in cup competitions instead of the league, because with cup competitions it's easier. You don't have cup competitions happening every week.
Right.
That's my thinking of what might happen. I hope I'm wrong, but looking at all of the factors involved, it's a tough sell to say from right now we don't have all of the funding and we still need to do all of that other work. There's a lot of work to do in 2 months.
Tricky stuff, but thank you. Huge clarity offered as always by Ngobile Ndlovu, founder of Cash and Sport Research and Advisory. Your thoughts? How badly does South African football need VAR, and is it so sufficiently badly that 20 million rand of public money meant for sport, and there are, of course, competing uses for that money, does that justify this money coming from the public purse? Give me your views. 702 Drive.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
My fellow South Africans, I have not stolen public money, committed any crime. I want to make it clear that I will not resign.
Clement Manyatela, the president has been very clear that he is not going to be resigning.
The president considered resigning a couple of years ago. So my question is, if he was willing to resign then, what's different now? Because at the time, it was just an independent panel report that says we need an impeachment committee that can determine whether or not you have committed any serious misconduct.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Mzansi, pick 6 lucky numbers and play Powerball Plus for the staggering 86 million rand estimated jackpot. And Powerball is at an estimated 78 million rand jackpot this Tuesday. Play Powerball Plus for an estimated 86 million rand and Powerball for an estimated 78 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda Pusha Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
So a categorical denial, that you say that was never said. There was an exclusivity agreement. Basically, he has not been entirely honest with us. That's your version.
Well, he wasn't entirely honest with us. He tried to hide it from us. We're okay with him supplying the market. We're okay with him doing his own brand, but not leveraging the IP that we've developed together.
Roy Bagatini, the CEO at Woolworths.
The Money Show
on 702. 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by Absa Business Banking, featuring the AgriTrends 2026 Autumn Edition. In agriculture, smart moves need smart insights. Get the latest AgriTrends report at absaagritrends.co.za. Absa is a registered FSP.
This is EWN.
The Health Minister's official vehicle kills a mother and child, and Western Cape weather-related death toll continues to rise. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Police are investigating 2 separate cases of culpable homicide, one of which involves the official vehicle of Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi. On Saturday, the car, driven by a member from the Protection Security Services, struck and killed a woman and her child. The vehicle was travelling on the N1 near Bela in Limpopo at the time. Preliminary investigations indicate the woman was attempting to cross the highway with her 2 children, one of whom was strapped to her back when the vehicle struck them. According to police, the family was trying to reach the scene of an earlier accident in which the woman's husband was allegedly struck and killed by a vehicle driven by an off-duty police officer. Police spokesperson Athlenda Mate.
In line with standard protocol, the minister's close protector and the driver immediately stopped at the scene together with the minister and remained there until police and emergency medical services arrived. Statements were subsequently obtained from those present at the scene. 2 separate cases of culpable homicide are under investigation, and the circumstances surrounding both accidents form part of ongoing police investigations.
A crime analytics officer, Marumo Mahane, says there was no sinister intent on his part when he bungled a major drug bust case. Mahane has been testifying before the Madlanga Commission today, explaining why he was at a July 2021 drug bust in Johannesburg, where 741 kilograms of cocaine were confiscated. Mahane's presence was suspicious because he is usually office-bound with a duty to analyze and collate crime statistics. Tabiso Koba reports.
During his testimony today at the Madlanga Commission, Marumo Mahane has admitted to a number of what he calls oversights in his handling of the drug bust. One of these oversights was loading the confiscated drugs into his open canopy bakkie and not alerting any of the relevant authorities about the drug bust. Co-Commissioner Sesi Baloyi says there has to be a reason why Mahane involved himself in a matter that he had neither the authority nor the experience to.
That was somebody's consignment, and someone was being threatened and someone was under pressure to get it out and delivered to them. We know all of that. It happens to be a consignment you, Mahane, who has nothing to do with drug operations, are involved in.
However, Mahane disagrees.
From the bottom of my heart, I had no intention of driving away from the scene before the scene was properly processed.
Following the drug bust, Mahane was arrested and also charged internally by SAPS. However, in both cases, he was cleared of any wrongdoing. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Calls are mounting for Communications Minister Solly Malatsi to immediately resign over his department's AI-generated artificial intelligence policy. The latest call came during today's debate into the department's budget vote in the National Assembly over the now withdrawn national AI policy. But Malatsi says while the matter is regrettable, an independent panel chaired by top AI experts will take over the process and create another draft AI policy. Babalondenze reports.
Minister Solly Malatsi has come under heavy criticism from different parties over the withdrawn AI policy that was found to have been fabricated by AI. The ANC had earlier condemned what it called institutional embarrassment caused by the minister following the withdrawal of South Africa's draft national artificial intelligence policy. Action SA MP Malebo Kobe says Malatsi should have long resigned for the blunder.
Surely, any minister whose signature appears on a document riddled with AI hallucinations would have long resigned. But this is not the case, Honourable House Chair.
But Malatsi says they'll be reviewing the entire process.
And today we are announcing that we'll be appointing an advisory panel to assist us with reviewing the policy. The panel will be chaired by Professor Benjamin Rosman and will be made up of distinguished experts spanning AI research and governance.
Malatsi says the group of experts will ensure that the policy that will now be reintroduced for public comment will be based on the best available evidence. Babalondense, Eyewitness News.
The death toll linked to weather-related incidents in the Western Cape has risen to 6. It comes as disaster management teams continue to respond to calls from various communities severely impacted by heavy rain, strong winds as well as flooding. Nearly 6,000 people have been left vulnerable, with flooding leading to evacuations and infrastructure damage. Authorities say nearly 2,000 homes have been flooded or destroyed in informal settlements including Philippi as well as Kailicha. Western Cape Disaster Management Head Colin Diner says thousands remain cut off across the province with adverse weather conditions hampering rescue efforts.
We currently just started a large operation in the Wolseley area where there are people that are trapped and we are trying to reach them. And then the Citrus Dal has also been cut off. So there's a couple of areas in the Cedarburg that we're trying to reach now. We're not able to fly because of the weather, so it is making access to those people very difficult.
And in East Africa, Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has been sworn in today at the Kolokolo Independence Grounds in Kampala for a record 7th consecutive term. This comes after the 81-year-old's landslide victory in January's disputed elections, in which he garnered more than 70% of the vote. This year's polls extended his tenure as one of Africa's longest-serving rulers, with his term expected to end in 2031. Museveni first came to power as a rebel leader in 1986, but since then he has won 7 elections, joining Congolese, Equatorial Guinea and Cameroon's leaders who've been in power for more than 40 years. Gold is trading at $4,675.96 an ounce. The rand is at 16.52 to the dollar, 22.33 to the pound, 19.38 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $108.06 a barrel.
In Polshof, you can still expect about a 20-minute delay on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Stonehaven, while in Midrand, traffic pressure on Allendale Road, that's heading towards Kloorkop between Old Pretoria Road and Mastiff. And if you are leaving Sandton, traffic sluggish on Sandton Drive between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive.
In your sport, win and hope scenario for Mamelodi Sundowns as their 2025-26 Betway Premiership season concludes against TS Galaxy. 2026 FIFA World Cup opening stadium now under NASA watch 1 month before kickoff. And the Proteas women look ahead to the T20 World Cup.
A fine and nippy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 6 degrees, peaking at a high of 22. Pretoria 8 and 25, and Vereeniging 5 at a high of 20 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: police are investigating 2 separate cases of culpable homicide, one of which involves the official vehicle of Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy that connects us all.
That's what makes this one so special.
In 702, Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 10 minutes past 5. Good to have you with us. We are live in the place where you live, and we're always keen to hear from you. Maybe there's a news story related to something happening in your community. Maybe there is a detail that we might have missed on a story we're already covering. Maybe you just want to throw out something entirely new. We've been throwing out questions to you. We asked you a little bit earlier, ideas you might have for getting young people that very, very first job. I'd love to hear more of those, given that the latest quarter numbers for unemployment in South Africa and jobs, of course, both of them not looking as good as they should. 345,000 jobs lost in the last quarter, a lot of them in construction, even more in government and social services. So those ideas, please, and whatever else might be on your mind. Coming up in the next half an hour or so, we're going to be talking to Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber. Constitutional Court has actually overturned a ruling in the Supreme Court of Appeal. This previously had allowed asylum seekers whose applications had been denied to reapply while remaining in the country. The ruling handed down today. More details with the minister, and crucially, what he sees as the implications. That's coming up in 3 or 4 minutes' time. Also, Stephen Curtis with the very latest news from Market Day, on which things haven't gone particularly well. All the numbers moving in the wrong direction, but there's always tomorrow, I suppose, and there is always the money show. Between 6 and 8, Stephen will give us a preview of that as well. Traffic news will bring you the very latest from the world of sport. We're keen to know from you, what are those things that you often lend out, that you know with reasonable certainty you actually are never getting back, and some of you commenting on that accident in Limpopo, which has cost the life of a mother and a child on the N1, involving the motorcade of Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi. Some of you with strong views on that. Let's hear a few.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, Babjon. It's Mali here. Listening to the voice note where the sender says probably the minister's convoy was speeding. I will not dispute that as well because I've seen them speeding. They will flash you to move out of the way. But again, we are speculating here. But tell me, if you are speeding in a highway, it's not a residential, it's a highway on the N1, and then someone crosses, isn't that illegal to cross the highway where there are bridges located for pedestrians to cross?
Hi, John. I had to wait for Mbali to reread another news, and I'm like, because I thought I didn't hear correctly. Imagine the father had an accident. On their way now to check him. Now they also get accident. They are caught up in an accident. Wow. Oh, I'm so sorry for that family. Oh, sending love and strength to that family.
Good afternoon, Dr. John. Dr. John, in case of Aaron Mujaledi, it is illegal to cross the highway. It is illegal. That lady, what she did was illegal. Let's not shy away from that. It is illegal to cross highway. It's there in the law. I know because I was arrested for it by crossing the highway. I know. Molefe from Albertine. Thank you.
So thank you for all those contributions, and particularly that very, very compassionate reaching out to a family going through a really terrible time. You're not allowed to cross a highway. Surely that refers to, the N1 in between the Rivonia Road off-ramp and the Winnie Mandela off-ramp is a very different beast to the N1 40 kilometers south of Bila Bila. Now, are you also not allowed to cross that highway? It doesn't make complete sense to me. Does the fact that it is a highway mean that you cannot cross it ever? And by the way, this is not in any way trying to, apportion blame in this particular matter, but I would like clarity. People who know the rules of the road, I would have thought these are two very, very different things. Crossing the M1 would be one thing, crossing the N1 in the urban section that I've just described, but you could use 150 other examples in any city in the country. But then those roads become, in effect, yes, wide highways, but they are rural roads, and the traffic volume certainly reflects that. So somebody who understands the law, let's try and clarify that. And of course, if we get some updates on what's actually happening with the terrible fallout from this accident, then we'll update you on that as well. 16 minutes past 5.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS the word out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo Charlie Paulshof is our latest trouble spot. What's happening there?
Yeah, you can expect about a 20-minute delay in the Poleshof area on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Stonehaven. There's also bumper-to-bumper traffic heading towards Fourways, leaving the Rivonia area. That's the N1 southbound. Delays from the Butlu interchange to Winnie Mandela Drive. Midrand, there's traffic pressure on Allendale Road between Old Pretoria Road and Mastiff. That's delays heading towards Kloorkop. If you're leaving Sandton heading towards Bryanston, traffic sluggish on Sandton Drive between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. In Hurlingham, this is heading towards Bryanston as well, rather heading towards Randburg. Expect some delays on Republic Road between Winnie Mandela Drive and Jan Smart's Northcliffe. Expect about a 20-minute delay on Bayers Nodia between Judges and the N1. And finally in Centurion, traveling towards Linwood, there's slow-moving traffic on the N1 northbound from Boeta Avenue to Rigel Avenue. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance Pointsmen can't help you answer your child's random school drive questions, but they can help you get them to school on time. Seeing them on your route just makes you feel better. The Outsurance Pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so everyone gets where they need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, show them some love online using #PointsmenLove, licensed insurer and FSP.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes on 702.
My show is about your money, and it's about how people have made their money. But it's also about what happened to your money today, what happened on the JSE, what's happening overseas. All of these things, all about the way in which people make their money, spend their money, use their money, and in so many ways, use their money to make more money for them. What I absolutely love about the 702 family and 702 land is the huge warmth of people, the generosity that they show. But I also absolutely love the hustle. Anyone in business is actually trying to improve the economy. They're trying to have an impact on all of us. And there's a go-getting attitude to 702 land that you don't see in so many other places. That's what I really love about 702 land. That getting together and doing something new, and in the process, making money.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes. Weekdays from 6 to 8 p.m.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's a home for dream creators, operators, and change makers. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi to unite the whole of Joburg in the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. On Sunday, 26 July, we're going on a walk through the Joburg CBD, and we want you to join us and be a part of something special. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Jozi. Babize Bonke. More on primemediaplus.com.
Let's hear from Shemaine, owner of Vovotello Linwood, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
I wish we had switched sooner. Not only was it quick and easy, but also gave us more favorable premiums.
For restaurants, pharmacies, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
There are moments that don't look significant at first until everything changes because of them. Shift Happens with Richard Sutton, a new podcast exploring real stories of challenge, doubt, and turning points. Because growth doesn't arrive when everything is clear. It arrives when nothing is. Coming soon on primemediaplus.com, the Prime Media Plus app, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Powered by First Light, therapeutics for the modern mind.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Let's turn our attention now, 21 minutes past 5, to a significant judgment today in the Constitutional Court. They were looking at a Supreme Court of Appeal ruling that allowed asylum seekers whose applications had been denied to reapply while remaining in the country. The Supreme Court of Appeal had ruled that this was indeed the law in South Africa, but the ConCourt has now overturned that. And so the law is now looking at this matter very, very differently. What are the implications? Let's welcome Dr. Leon Schreiber, Minister of Home Affairs. Minister, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. If we look at the broader picture, the application was brought by 2 Burundian nationals, but clearly it has wider application. How common is there a number that indicates how many people have been reapplying while remaining in South Africa? Is it a substantial number of people?
Good afternoon, John, to you and the listeners. Yes, indeed, this is a case with really significant consequences. An appeal that was lodged by the Department of Home Affairs to those original rulings going back many years and was argued in November last year before we got the judgment today. It's a substantial number, John. I think we have been dealing with backlogs in this space for a very long time. And that has been compounded by cases where people actually have completed the process. There has been an outcome reached, in other words, a decision on whether their claim for refugee status is valid or not. And in the cases of adverse decisions, we've had people then essentially remaining in the country because of this revolving door or the ability to take multiple bites at the cherry of whether you can get this refugee status. So I do think this is a very significant ruling. It also comes in the context of broader work that's going on. You will recall that just a few weeks ago, Cabinet approved our revised white paper on citizenship, immigration and refugee protection, where we introduced the first safe country principle, which says that a refugee or an asylum seeker cannot only pick and choose South Africa. There are other safe countries in the region. And when you take these two together, you can see the impact of this policy reform and this Concord judgment significantly tightening some of the spaces that have been used for abuses in the past.
So the first place country, if we applied for first safe country policy, sorry to give it its correct name, for example, since we're talking about people from Burundi, they would, if they came through Malawi, for example, and there's possibly somewhere north of that, but they can't say, well, South Africa is our preferred place. You have to stop at the first place.
Yes, and there are a couple of caveats there, but the basic point is that we cannot have a situation where people only pick and choose one region in the country. And if you think about it, it's entirely logical. If South Africa's neighboring countries have problems, we are naturally, geographically, one of the first ports of call. But when it comes to countries that are much further afield, you often have other countries that are closer and that are also safe. So we are also mindful in the white paper to say, and obviously this must still be translated into legislation, but we are saying that countries that are safe, we have to designate them.
Yes.
So it can't just be because we think they're safe. We have to designate safe countries. We have to withdraw the status if things change. So if there's a civil war in a country that was previously safe, we have to withdraw the status. And critically, these are countries that must themselves be members of the UN Convention on the Rights of Refugees, like South Africa. So it's an entirely logical, rational approach that I think any clear-minded person would support, to just start to get a handle on this phenomenon, because we have seen that one country, namely South Africa, has really been a country that's being picked and chosen by these people who are traveling often great distances just to get to South Africa.
Minister, back to the judgment today, and I'm going to try and wend my way through some legal trees here. I'm not sure I have a compass, but you'll help me when I go astray. Two issues. There's a repeat asylum application. This is according to the judgment, which is somebody who is given a final no, but then continues to apply. And then there's something called surplus. And I understand surplus to mean that circumstances have changed. So they are in South Africa, and the country from which they have fled, things have got measurably or significantly worse. Is that surplus application door still open, even if the door to a repeat application, because of a final refusal, has been closed? I hope I'm making some sense.
No, you are. And let me give it my best shot with the caveat that we obviously still also studying the judgment and looking at some of the practical implications. But my reading is to say that if it is your first application for asylum status, then that surplus state provision remains viable. In other words, if you left your country, perhaps without the intention of applying for refugee status, and a civil war breaks out in your home country while you're abroad, then that is considered to be a surplus application, and that, in my understanding, it's normal. That's what happens in any country.
Right.
What the Concord has said is that is, however, not to be confused with a case where someone left their country, applied for asylum, got rejected, and then changed circumstances to effectively manufacture a new surplus application. So the core of the matter really is about someone not having multiple bites at the cherry. So if your first application is made on that basis, the way I understand the judgment, that's not an issue. But there are not multiple applications, and of course we know why people would do that, because it drags it out and actually creates a situation by default where they would then live in the country for years. And that's what the Concord has now strengthened our hand on, to say you can't do that.
Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Leon Schreiber, very, very interesting Concord decision, and starting to disaggregate all the many threads in the immigration, illegal immigration, all the issues that are bubbling and burning in our country at the moment. So you may have some thoughts on that. I'd love to hear them. 072 7021 702, 28 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, a very good afternoon to you. Markets close, money show in what in the air fryer?
Bubbling, yes.
Bubbling.
Air fryer. Yeah, I like air fryer, actually.
Money show bubbling. What's coming up?
Air fryer implies that one is being thrifty, which I suppose is all very money. Yes, John. Oil prices slightly higher, the rand slightly weaker. The ore share down 1.42% on the day, 116,763 points. Financials up 0.35, industrials up 1.66, and resources down nearly 2.5% today. Process down 5.29%. They had an update, wasn't bad. They basically said they'll meet their guidance. The market wanted a bit more, and I think that's really why they were down so dramatically on the day. Naspers obviously going with them, 4.5%. Pick some of the consumer shares, John. So this is interesting. We saw Clicks and Dis-Chem both down by around 3%. Motors down 3.69%. And then we also see Pick and Pay down 4%. They did rocket yesterday, mainly because of Box's results.
Yes.
So a little bit of sort of reality catching up, I think. But we also saw the Foschini Group having a difficult day as well, and they were down 13% yesterday. So I think that's really quite interesting to watch. The Bytes Technology Group, based primarily in the UK, their gross profit up 2.5% for the year ending February. So they ended the day up very strongly, up 6.46%. And then, of course, shares benefiting from higher oil prices. British American Tobacco up 6.2%, Sasol up 2.5%. Vodacom, after yesterday's results, up 2%, and then ABSA's up 1.56% on the day. And Redefine, their results also out yesterday, up nearly 1.33% on the day. MTN reporting their group service revenue up 20% in the first quarter of the year. Their data revenue was up 36%. But their South African operation battling a little bit. EBITDA actually down 12.5% in their home market. Voice revenue down quite dramatically, and that's also, I think, because they're trying to compete on price in the prepaid segment, and that's what's causing difficulties for them. In the US, a little bit tough there. So obviously concerns about the situation with oil prices in the Strait of Hormuz. The US President Donald Trump is going to China to meet President Xi there, and then we also have higher than expected inflation figures in the US. The Dow Jones is down 0.5%. The Nasdaq is down 1.28. The S&P 500 is down 0.73. The gold price, $4,669.86. Platinum, $2,093.22. Brent crude, $107.96. And the rand to the dollar, 16.56 to the euro, 19.41 to the British pound, 22.37. On the Money Show tonight, John, how concentrated is our economy? There's a new report out from the Competition Commission. Also, we will talk about the Hong Kong economy. We'll actually speak to a representative of Hong Kong. They're on the Money Show tonight, trying to sell Hong Kong to our businesses. A story developing around the water brand Thirsty. We'll talk to someone
with
involved with an eye tonight. And then also in personal finance, I love this, how to talk about money with your partner. I mean, first take a deep breath, maybe say a prayer. Anyway, Warren Ingram. He's a brave man, is Warren Ingram. He'll be on your radio from 7:30 this evening. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Will his partner be with him?
No.
Okay, should have insisted on that. Great stuff. And Warren Ingram, always filled with excellent advice and insight and plenty else besides on the Money Show between 6 and 8. It's way off, though. It's only 28 minutes to 6. That means we need news. SASSA and Postbank in the Concord, and I wonder how many people out there are saying, well, I hope none of that legal wrangling means I'm not going to get my benefits Vali Tlamini has that story and some others too. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Well, SASSA has assured all its beneficiaries they will be receiving their grant payments this month, despite an ongoing legal battle with Postbank. The matter over the termination of SASSA's contract with the bank went to the Constitutional Court today. Postbank, which pays grants to over 2 million South Africans, is challenging SASSA's termination notice of the Master Service Agreement. Today, the court ordered that Postbank continue facilitating payments while the legal dispute continues. Khomotso Modise reports.
One of the points raised by SASSA in the Constitutional Court today is that it hadn't budgeted for the Master Services Agreement with the Postbank for the current financial year because it had already issued a termination notice. But this is contrary to a Constitutional Court order handed down in December that Postbank should continue facilitating grant payments until the legal dispute is resolved. But even with the ongoing legal battle, SASSA's Baseka Letsatsi has reassured beneficiaries that they will receive their grants this month.
We just want to assure every beneficiary that there is no need to panic, including the South African at large, that there is absolutely no need to panic because the SASSA will process the payment to all the banks where people have to get their money.
The merits of the case were not heard in court today, but the agreement between the Postbank and SASSA remains pending the finalization of the court challenge. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
Justice Minister Mameloko Kubai says agencies will be ramping up efforts to seize assets obtained through ill-gotten gains as part of its fight against corruption. She told Parliament today that the National Prosecuting Authority's Asset Forfeiture Unit is aiming to freeze assets worth 1 billion rand in this financial year. But opposition parties have rejected her claims of anti-corruption success, saying the NPA is too underfunded to bring the real criminals to book. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
Delivering her budget plans today, Minister Mameloko Kubai said over the past financial year, the Asset Forfeiture Unit obtained 481 freezing orders worth 860 million rand. It recovered more than 500 million rand in money owed to the state against a target of 160 million rand.
This overachievement is mainly attributed to ongoing recoveries in civil asset forfeitures matters carried over from the previous financial year.
But the MK party's Mzwanele Mani said the NPA is going after the wrong people and is creating the perception that it is selective in who it prosecutes.
South Africans witness aggressive prosecutorial energy directed at a National Police Commissioner over flimsy PFMA-related allegations.
Meanwhile, the EFF's Matibe Mohlala has claimed the NPA is deliberately underfunded and can't meaningfully prosecute corruption emerging from commissions of inquiry alongside other cases. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And in Japan, snack giant Calbee has announced plans to temporarily change its packaging as a result of the impact of the war in the Middle East. The company will switch to black and white packaging for some of its best-known products as supplies of an ingredient used in ink to create its normal packaging dwindle. It marks the latest example of how everyday goods are being impacted after Iran effectively closed the Strait of Hormuz waterway. The decision was taken by Iran in retaliation for US and Israeli strikes on the country. In recent weeks, companies around the world have warned that supply disruptions to things like fuel, plastics and helium are pushing up costs for their businesses. A fine and nippy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, lows of between 6 and 8 degrees and highs of between 20 and 25.
Eldorado Park heading towards Lenasia. Traffic heavily backed up on the N12 westbound from the N1 to Klipspruit Valley. Boksburg traffic congested. N17 eastbound, that's heading towards Brakpan between Rondebolt and Carnival City. And in Sunwood Park, expect some delays. This is traveling towards Stone Park on Rondebolt Road, approaching North Boundary Road.
The top story in EWN. The Social Security Agency has assured all beneficiaries they will be receiving their grant payments this month, despite an ongoing legal battle with Postbank.
The Clement Maniatella Show on 702.
The Clement Maniatella Show is about everything. It's about current affairs, family matters, the work environment, your health and wellness, relationship and sex issues that couples face. It's about learning, helping each other, healing, teaching. It's about life in essence. What I like about the 702 family and 702 land is that we are quite intentional about doing life together. We're always pulling through for each other, learning from each other, always teaching each other. We're not scared to disagree, but also we're brave enough to be vulnerable with each other. We just care about each other, and I think that is priceless.
The Clement Maniatella Show, weekdays from 9 to 12 p.m.
Well, today is International Nurses Day, and because of that, Mediclinic recognizes the nurses who lead with care. Of course, leadership can take many forms. Sometimes it's making the critical call. Sometimes it's teaching, guiding, and mentoring that is needed most. Sometimes it's simply just being there, fully present when someone needs it most. Now, the nurses who guide patients through uncertainty, support their families through those inevitably difficult moments, and uplift the teams around them every single day are all leaders. As many experienced nurses across South Africa approach retirement, that leadership in nursing has become more important than ever. Because the future of healthcare depends not only on the care nurses provide today, but on the inspiration, mentorship, and example they pass on to tomorrow's nurses. We need to be thinking about this more and more. So Mediclinic thanks all nurses for leading with care and helping shape the future of healthcare. Mediclinic, expertise you can trust.
My fellow South Africans, you have spoken and we have listened. We understand the severity of your situation, and we know you are tired. We are all tired, but something bigger and better is coming. Your chance is finally coming home. Stay tuned, keep watching. We'll talk soon. I thank you.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
John, I think that two things can be true at the same time. It can be illegal to cross a highway, but it is also illegal to speed. So it's not that one is always wrong and one is always right. So if you're crossing the highway illegally, it doesn't absolve the person who is speeding, who could have prevented an accident by not speeding. Dolus eventualis is if you are speeding, you must know that there is a potential negative outcome for it, regardless of whether or not somebody else is doing something illegal.
Hi, Dr. John. It is illegal to cross the highway, as per the last speaker. It honestly doesn't matter because there's a section in Hammanskraal that really separates Kekana Gardens and Ramotse. And people do cross the highway there. And if it happens, a car hits you, the driver is not at fault. They won't go to jail. They will just unfortunately live with the trauma that they've hit or killed someone. Typical example, the Manakaranaka situation where she also hit school learner crossing the highway. It really leaves you traumatized, I'm sure, but condolences to the family and we sympathize with them. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for all of that. Much more we still need to learn about this accident involving the motorcade of Health Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi. Tragically, 2 people killed in Limpopo on the N1. Anyone with further insights into the law and how it works, give us a call on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. It's 19 minutes now to 6.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Still to come, we're going to play you some music. We decided to ask you today for your favorite country music artist and what you believe to be their very greatest hits. We're getting some great suggestions already. We're going to play you one more time. The pick that's come out of the 702 Drive team. We'll tell you more about the song in a moment, but here's a taste.
She's from Texas, I can tell by the way he's two-stepping round the room. And judging by the smile that's written on his face, there's nothing I can do. It doesn't take a crystal ball to see. A cowboy always finds a way.
Yeah, nice stuff. I'm looking forward to hearing more of that, and much more looking forward to hearing some of your suggestions, artists and songs, please. It's 18 minutes to 6.
EWN Sport.
Sundowns in action tonight for reasons we know, because they've got a CAF Champions League final coming up, but they do also have a league title to defend. Tola Kele with the latest.
Thanks so much, John. And they'll be out to secure an emphatic win that will boost their goal difference when they take on TS Galaxy in the Midday Premiership tonight. A win for Mamelodi Sundowns will see them move 6 points clear of second place Orlando Pirates in the title race. And then they must hope that the Buccaneers are unable to win their final 2 matches. That's if the Brazilians are to win their 9th championship in a row. It's a big fortnight for the men from Pretoria, as Dennis Onyongo and his teammates are involved in a 2-legged CAF Champions League final against ASFAR.
As senior players, we have to push the boys because, of course, every game counts for the club, regardless of how difficult it is. We have to give our best. Every game is a final, and as we're looking forward also to the Champions League final, we need to end the season on a high. Regardless of what's happening around us in the league, we have to stay positive and believe that it can be done.
The Estadio Azteca is facing scrutiny just weeks before it hosts the opening match of the FIFA World Cup. Fresh concerns have emerged around the condition of the venue after footage appeared to show loose concrete falling from parts of the stadium, while NASA is monitoring the wider area due to fears surrounding lead subsidence. The stadium will host the tournament opener between Mexico and South Africa on the 11th of June and recently underwent extensive renovation ahead of the competition. In Spain, Jose Mourinho is edging closer to a return to Real Madrid after club president Florentino Perez called a press conference for later today amid reports that the Portuguese coach is in final negotiations. He'll return to Los Blancos 13 years after his first spell at the Bernabeu and will replace current head coach Alvaro Arbeloa, who took charge in January following Xabi Alonso's departure. The special one was in charge at Real between 2010 and 2013, winning La Liga, the Copa del Rey and the Spanish Super Cup. And in cricket, the Proteas women's 15-player squad for next month's T20 World Cup has been announced, with Marazan Kap, Shabnan Ismail and Dane Fani Gurk all called up. Ismail is back in the national team fold 3 years after retiring as South Africa's all-time wicket taker in this format with 123 scalps. She believes that her role in the team has now evolved to include a mentorship aspect.
I'm happy that there's youngsters coming through the pipeline. For me, it's now coming to the nest, making sure that I'm in good form first of all, but second of all, making sure I take the youngsters under my wing and making sure that when they go out and play, they need to play with freedom. And I think that's very important for youngsters at the moment, is that they shouldn't be feeling pressure of there's a Kapi or there's Shibnu Ismail or Aya or Tumi, etc. They should be going out there and saying, you know what, I'm playing with the best in the world and help us win the World Cup.
Tholakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Right now it's 5:45. This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS the word out to 45142 now. And you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo Chali, as always, keeping a close eye on what's happening on the roads. And Boksburg is not a place to be if you're in a rush.
Yeah, Boksburg heading towards Brakpan. Traffic remains congested due to roadworks. This is on the N17 eastbound from Rondebosch to Carnival City. Sunwood Park heading towards Dawn Park. Also expect some delays on Rondebosch Road approaching North Boundary Road. In Polshof, expect about a 20-minute delay on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Stonehaven. Midrand heading towards Kloorkop. There's still traffic pressure on Allendale Road between Old Pretoria Road and Mastiff. If you're leaving Sandton this evening, heading towards Bryanston, traffic sluggish on Sandton Drive between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. Hurlingham also expect some delays heading towards Randburg on Republic Road between Winnie Mandela Drive and Jan Smuts. Northcliffe, there's about a 20-minute delay still on Bayers Nordia between Judges and the N1. And in Eldorado Park, traveling towards Lenasia, traffic is backed up on the N12 westbound from the N1 to Klipspruit Valley Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Things people stress about in traffic. Number 50. Was, as per my last email, too passive-aggressive? Oh, the torture. Well, with the Outsurance pointsman on your route, at least the traffic is one less thing to stress about. The Outsurance pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
The Aubrey Masangu Show on 702.
I cover on my show issues of advisory, whether it is legal matters, whether it is financial matters. I cover day-to-day issues as far as current affairs are concerned. I cover the politics of the day and how we as South Africans are interpreting them. My listener is a curious 702 lander. They want to know what are the backstories, the stories behind what we are hearing on the airwaves. They want to understand what drives the different issues that have us talking. What I love about the 702 family and 702 Land is the fact that we have 702 landers who are responsive, who are present, who care about their communities and who want to know how they can be a part of the process of making our areas better, but also our country better. And that for me is a great privilege. I am totally indebted to the providence out there to be talking to these people on a daily basis.
The Aubrey Masangu Show. Weekdays from 8 to midnight. John is on X.
At John Perlman.
702 Drive. Okay, country music, your favorite artists and their best song. We've been playing you bits of a song, which I must admit I don't know, but I've really enjoyed. It's Kabazella's choice, Jonathan, in the studio to tell us who we're listening to, who have we been listening to, who we can listen to properly now, and why'd you pick the song?
Yeah, John, it's by an artist called Ella Langley. She's fairly newish to the country scene.
Okay.
I think she broke out onto the scene in 2024 and has got 2 albums out. And the song that we've been playing as a promo is called Choosing Texas. And it's from her 2026 album called Dandelion. But this particular song was released towards the end of last year. But it's a really nice song. And I mean, the thing about country music, right, is it's like they tell nice stories in a lot of these songs and these beautiful words. And I also in particular love that instrument. I think it's called the steel guitar.
Mm-hmm.
That's in a lot of country music. It's a distinct sound that you'll hear in most of the country songs. But yeah, Ella Langley is the artist. And I mean, I recently discovered her, by the way. It was a party at my house, and my sister and my missus and them were going crazy to one of her other songs, which I kind of got annoyed by because it was played so much. And then I went and searched her, and I came across this song, and it's been on my playlist for the last couple of days.
So you're annoying them now by your...
No, I keep
is
it
it
to
on
myself
repeat?
And play it in my car, but maybe
yeah.
at the next party I'll get revenge.
And to a whole 702 audience. But it sounds like a great track. Let's enjoy it. Choosing Texas. This is from Ella Langley off her second album. Take a listen, and while you're listening, think about your country music favorite and the song that they've put together that you love the best. Here we go.
Just when I thought I got him to fall in love with Tennessee, I should have known better than to take him back to Abilene. I put him right back into her arms. I wasn't a match for that kind of spark. She's from Texas, I can tell by the way he's two-stepping round
Ella Langley, born Elizabeth Camille Langley. Who cares about that? Choosing Texas is the name of the song. Number one hit on the Billboard Hot 100. It's a really nice track, and we're looking forward to hearing your favorites right here on 702 Drive.
702 Afternoons with Relebogile Mabodja.
702 Afternoons is about all things in life, from music to inspiration. We get an opportunity to explore science, mental health, food. I almost feel like there's nothing we don't do on my show. One of the things I absolutely love about 702 Land and the 702 family is that we are so sharing. We share tears, laughs, smiles. We share in the amazing times and celebrate together as well. We have a range of topics, but when it comes to what we do cover on the show, absolutely everything. My listener is somebody who wants to grow, evolve, develop. They're empathetic, they are loving. They are so special that even when they don't have, they come through and share, and more importantly, they know how to walk the talk.
702 Afternoons with Relebogile Mabodja. Weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m.
Mzansi, pick 6 lucky numbers and play Powerball Plus for the staggering 86 million estimated jackpot. And Powerball is at an estimated 78 million jackpot this Tuesday. So play Powerball Plus for an estimated 86 million rand and Powerball for an estimated 78 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda Pusher Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Some people walk with you for a season, others for a lifetime. I remember how they always made me feel safe. When I needed reassurance, they explained what came next. And when I became someone's whole world, they guided me with calm and confidence. Through every chapter of my life, there was always someone there.
To every nurse, thank you for leading with care. Happy International Nurses Day. MediClinic. Expertise you can trust.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, John and your team. It's Nash here. My favorite country song of all time, it's gotta be from Don Williams. The name of the song is I Believe in You. It's an amazing song. It reminds me of my late uncle. Man.
Good afternoon, John. My favorite country artist. It's a difficult one because it's a toss between Johnny Cash and Glenn Campbell. If I have to go with Johnny Cash, it will have to be A Boy Named Sue. If we go with Glenn Campbell, it will have to be I Ain't Going to Miss You. That song broke my heart. Shireen from Pinelands, Cape Town.
I'm still here, but yet I'm gone. I don't play guitar or sing my songs. It never defined who I am. The man that loved you till the end. You're the last person I will love. You're the last face I will recall. And best of all, I'm not gonna miss
Glenn Campbell and the Wrecking Crew. That one came out in 2014. Boy, he's had an extensive, long career. Won a Grammy in 2015 for that song. And yeah, a couple of other awards as well, nominated at the 87th Academy Awards. A couple of others that you suggesting in the text messages. Thank you. Roger is pretty open as to what we play. Anything from Chris Christopherson. He says, Neil asks for Tennessee whiskey. the song that is, by Chris Stapleton. Again, Liz with a wide canvas, any song, she says, by the Queen of Country, Dolly Parton. Nikki would be satisfied with anything from John Denver. Let's go back to your voice notes, see what people are asking for.
Good afternoon, John. Good afternoon, 702. This is David driving through Midday to Pretoria. How about the cowboy song Coca-Cola Cowboy by Mel Tills? Nice old classic. Take care. Enjoy the evening.
Dada John and Tim, Garden Party by Rick Nelson. That was way back when I was about 6 years old or so. At least I could relate to the song. It's a couple of lyrics that I could hear. It's all right now. Learn my lesson. Can't please everyone, so gotta please yourself. Sim, thank you.
Went to a garden party to reminisce with my old friends. Chance to share old memories, play a song again. When I got to the garden party, they all knew my name. No one recognized me. I didn't look the same, but it's all right now. I learned my lesson well. You see, you can't please everyone, so you got to please.
Really interesting story behind the song, actually. I've just picked it up on Wikipedia. Rick Nelson was performing at Madison Square Garden. He got booed by the crowd. There's some debate about what the booing was about, but anyway, can please everyone. One more from you.
Hi, John. Hi, John. It's Daniel from Equatema. No, for me, it must be Dolly Parton. Don't you know that I love you? Yeah, I love that song. Yeah, it's one of the best songs. Yeah, classic. Sure.
When the morning sun streaks across my room and I'm waking up from another dream of you. Yes, you know I'm on the road. Once again it seems all that's left behind is a chain of broken dreams. But you know that I love you. You know that I love you.
I really shouldn't interrupt Dolly Parton, but let me just say, this has been 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Have a great Tuesday. Good night.
Is all we'd need to live. What a life we'd have. 'Cause I've got so much to give. But you know I feel so sad down inside my heart that the dollar signs should be keeping us apart. But you know that I love you.
And now, The Money Show
with Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming